Good morning and welcome to episode 5 of the Witching podcast. As always, I'm joined with my good friends Mark, Dave and Liddle. How are we all doing?
Yeah, doing good, man.
I did alright.
Good stuff. We've got Clark Kent at the top. How are we doing, Liddle? You're not
doing good.
You're not buff enough to be him, mate, unfortunately. Maybe.
I could get a tighter t-shirt. No.
Superwoman.
Please don't do that.
Even then, you're buff enough for that.
I'd have to buy it. I think it's going to arrive during the podcast.
I never know. Maybe a wee chair for the shelter as well. So I mean, today we've got a couple of events, both Scottish events, Ambush at Ayr, which Dave attended. Is that right? And we had.
Aye.
And then again, it was Conquest, Kelpie Conquest by Dave and Liddle as well. So good representation from the guys. I think we'll just get started. We'll just go straight in with Ambush Air, which was always been one of my favourite events, to be honest. It's hosted by Jamie Moore, which is cool to see that he's keeping it running. I think this is its third year running now, isn't it? Or is it maybe fourth?
Fourth year, yeah.
Run. That's crazy. I think I've been to them all, but maybe I missed the first one. Don't know. Long time anyway. It's a
You're
unique
wearing
event.
You're wearing it that one, so.
Is that? I think that was one of the first kind of events I went to. But it's a unique event because it's an escalation event, and I don't think there's many, if any, other events like that in Scotland where it's 2 games. Remind me, it's 2 at 450, 2 at 350. 2 at 550, 2 at 750. Is it a straight split that way?
He did 3 this year at 550, so it was 7 games this year, which is a bit of change for what he's done in the past. And it was 2, 3, and then 2.
Oh. Well, it's definitely got a unique sort of feel to it because your list has a theme throughout, and everything that's in your 350 more or less builds into your 550 and so on and so forth. So I actually really like it. It keeps it fresh. The unique thing this year, I mean, he's always tried to do sort of like a mercenary type build a bear hero type thing, and this year he spent quite a lot of extra time. I spoke to him a bit about it, about fleshing that out, because it was quite there's quite a lot of customization. It's probably best, really, I guess, if you or Liddle speak about it. I mean, Liddle wasn't there, so probably Dave.
Aye.
I'll talk about it, aye.
No, I think it's really cool, actually. It's a bit different, because in the past it was like if you had an unnamed hero on your list, you could give them some abilities, and some people will engage with that and others will just choose not to, whereas this time it's an enforced thing. And the other thing I like is it was quite a lot to take in at first, but actually if you read the pack, it's like super clearly, like he's laid out all the steps really nicely, which was cool. We've got an example one there that Ian has made, which he's called David Attenborough. You have to give it a name, but the first thing is you pick a race, and if you're good or evil, you've got different races you can pick. So like evil one there, Ian's taking a goblin, but evil could take a goblin, an orc, an evil man, or an urukai. And I think for good, it was either a hobbit, a man, a dwarf, or an elf. And at base points, those come, like, obviously they're cheaper, depending what you get. The goblin was the cheapest one that you could take. Once you decide what race you're taking, you then give them a class, and that's kind of like a D&D type thing, I guess. But it's there was tactician, which is what Ian's went for here in this example, but there was also archer, warrior, rogue, and knight. And I think there was a reason that, like, tactician was definitely the most popular one, but there was a reasonable spread of the others, other than knight, which I don't think anyone took in the end, which is a bit of a shame on that one. And although I did consider it if I'd been taking dwarfs, but as it is, we'll get into what I took in. It wasn't that. The once you've picked your race and you've picked your class, you then get certain abilities, and at that point it's a little simpler because there was maybe like 2 or 3 different abilities per level. And you see there, everyone comes with like a basic thing. So the goblin came with Cave Dweller. You notice there in the war gear, it has Warhorn. So that was because it's a tactician. Every tactician came with a Warhorn, which was like a nice wee buff. And then you get your choice of level 1 ability, which Ian's went for formation shift there, but there was other ones available. And then when you get to level, you only get that in the 350 games. And then at level 2, which is 550, you get a level 2 ability, which again, there's like maybe 2 or 3 different choices per class. And you also get a heroic action. So as basically just come with like the basic heroic actions, so like move, combat, shoot. But they gain a heroic action at level 2. And then at level 3, they gain a second heroic action and they gain a third ability. And the heroic actions, there's like a limit as what ones you can take. So like different classes will have access to different things. So like you're maybe not going to get strike unless you've gone for like a warrior or a knight, that sort of thing. But actually, like once you get into it and read it, it's quite simple to build them. And it's quite cool. You get like a wee unique guy. I don't know if you've got a picture of it there, but I quite liked it as a bit of modelling opportunity as well. Like I had a little goblin, and it was a model I'd won at an event. It was an event Sean Sproul ran years ago, and I won that model as a prize, and it's just sat there, and I've always felt like it'd be cool to paint it up at some point. And then at this point, I was like, well, I'm adding a goblin to my list, so I could use that wee goblin, and he can be my goblin tactician, which I'd also taken as well. And yeah, they're cool. So
What I was going to ask, Dave, is how much, because this profile, is it just 1 might, 2 might? I don't really, what's their...
they were all 2 might, 2 will, 2 fate.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, so obviously that's the profile of a goblin, but obviously if you take in like a Nurukai, it's going to be fight value 5. If they kind of like the captain profiles. The other thing was that because some of them are cheaper than others, any unspent, you had like the most expensive a merc could be was 100 points. I think that was like if you took the elf and you made it a knight, so it had the mount, and you gave it the lance and the shield and that sort of thing. It was 100 points. Anything less than that went back into your army. So my goblin, I think, was only 45 points, so that gave me 55 points to spend on extra stuff for my army. So I was using a 405, 605 and 805 point list, whereas someone that had taken the elf or the kit would only be playing with 350, 550, 750. So I think we did maybe see people go for the cheaper characters because of that, particularly the tactician, because it gives you some nice buffs. Like the idea with the tactician is he comes with Warhorn, and all of his buffs, all of his abilities were like troop buffs and stuff like that. So whereas a warrior is going to have more things that benefits the warrior himself in combat, but he's going to end up being a wee bit more expensive, particularly if you've gone for an Urukai or a dwarf or an elf to get the best out of the warrior stats. Won't be bothering with a goblin warrior, I don't think.
And you're also providing fearless, to which we'll come on to, a bunch of crows and
well, that's exactly it. Yeah, and the abilities were nice, and they weren't all proper clear cut. Like that tier 1 one there, Ian's taking his formation shift for the tactician. That's like a once per game thing. You can, I think it's before priorities rolled, you roll a D3 and you can reposition D3 your models up to 3 inches, which could be really, really useful in some scenarios. That's the one I took. But one of the other options at that level was Master of Reserves, which is the rule that Majul and Gurutz have. And we were playing Maelstrom and we were playing a Recon as well. So again, that's going to be super useful in those scenarios. Whereas the formation shift could be situationally useful in every game, but there was some games, certainly I never really used it. So I think there was a nice variety of things to choose from, but the tactician did seem like the more popular one just because it was an army buff and it didn't have to come with any extra gear. Like you didn't have to spend any points on giving it like throwing daggers, which you could to a rogue, or the bow obviously to the archer. The knight has to take a mount, which is quite pricey, so you got a few more points on guys, which is always going to be useful in nearly every mission. So
did you obtain a goblin knight?
Yeah, they took a warg. The knight would get a warg, and same with the hobbit. Obviously, well, all the rest of them have sort of more natural mounts, but yeah, goblin you could still take a knight in it. It came with a warg.
I think he told me there was like 13 tacticians out of 24.
I think something like that. It was definitely the most popular one for sure. But he said he's going to try and tweak some things for next year in terms of, I think he's quite keen to keep this because it was quite well received. They had a painting competition for, that wasn't a painting competition, it was just you voted at the end for which one your favourite merc that you played against was, and that came with a prize as well, and that could be based on like the modelling, or it could be based on the theme of the merc and like any lore that you could go wild with it and just sort of really embrace people's imagination, which was cool. So I think he's definitely keen to keep it in, but a few wee tweaks, and one of the ones he said was giving the knights just a mount for free, because instead of having to pay 20 points for a horse, it might make more people more likely to take it.
He's he's in his own admission, he's put probably more time into it than he intended to, because it started out sort of last year. It was similar, but there definitely was a bit less to it, and then he kind of rewrote it all completely this year. So fair play, because it's unique. Nobody else does that. I think we'll jump into how those sort of rules can combine with your army in terms of the podium list. So I think first of all, we'll just jump straight into it, to Ian's list. Well, spoiler there, Ian McGregor won another event, which is a bit concerning for some. Called Finlay, hot on his trail, really. But yeah, Ian got the Crows and the Jakies again. It's I don't really know how to approach this, really, because there's going to be 3 big lists. So the theme is wolf. There's wolf in all of the lists. The wolves.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think in that list, Freka has to be the leader.
Yep.
But what Jamie had said was that if you were taking a list that has like a prescribed hero in it, you don't have to take that prescribed hero in the 350 points. You could wait until the 550 points to add them in.
She'd like Men of the West, if it, like LSR, and then
like Defenders of Helm's Deep with Theoden, you don't need to take them. Some it's like the Balrog and Depths of Moria. Depths is it was quite a nice change of pace actually, in that Depths is almost impossible to take. The Balrog is not a prescribed hero, but just trying to add him in an escalation when you're only adding 200 points per army makes him really hard to fit in. So there's certain armies that you probably wouldn't take in an event like this, which is good because it changes things up a bit.
Yeah, so you got Wolf, and I think he did though 350, 550, and then so Wolf's on all of the list, but like you say, Freka only appears in the. Hold on.
Your general could change, but once you had a character in the list, you couldn't drop a character. That was how they escalate. Because there's different ways of doing escalation. Some people do escalation at like once a model's in the list, it can't be removed at all, or some do war gear, but in this one it was just the characters. Any character that appeared in your 350 had to then appear in the 550 and 750, but your general could change from list to list. And actually your faction could change from list to list as well, depending on if that was doable with the models you'd taken.
But you say you could also have characters turn into different versions of themselves, that you could have Strider could go into LSR.
Yeah, Strider could become LSR, so I guess you could take something like the Fellowship, maybe, where you've got Strider, Legolas, and Gimli, and then you could turn that into Men of the West, like as an example, at a higher points value. Yeah, you could do that sort of thing, and then Striders become an LSR in that.
Fields would be the middle ground.
Yeah.
So I guess the summary for his list would be, I think when you talk about usurpers, I don't know how you guys look at it, it's more or less how many Crebain and how many models.
Yes.
It's really just like how many bows, spears, whatever. I mean, 350, only one Crebain, but I mean, even then at 350, it's a pain in the arse to deal with, because you've got Wolf on a horse, who's a right beak stick at that many points. 3 war bands of kind of guys with chieftains, then it goes up to 550. It's actually only 2 Crebain, really. That's probably quite modest. I reckon you could have went. No, wait.
We did know the missions in advance, so that might well have had a bit of say on how many Crebain the usurper player would want to take. It was.
It is actually, it's 3 Cabrain, sorry. It's not 2. There's a
It was
there.
Breakthrough and Recon were the first 2 scenarios, so you could argue that having a few Cabrain and Recon's obviously going to be pretty handy. And Breakthrough, I don't know if you really need too many, just because you need guys to take the objectives.
Yeah, it's funny how literally the list it just grows quite organically if you look at it. It's not like it's just more or less the same thing. It's not like it's here's a watcher, we're dropping a watcher in at 550. No, it's we drop more crows and more jakies and then big frecker. And then is it a big reveal for the 750 list? It's just more jakies and 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8 Cabrain. It's just like multiplying.
Saves them paid more Wildman.
That's true.
Hi. The missions in the middle were Assassination, Hold Ground and Seize the Prizes, and then it was Divide and Conquer and Fog of War at the end. But I mean, with this list, you're limited to what else you can add. Like, there's 2 named heroes. He's got them both by the time he's got the middle list, and then it is just a case of some more guys, some more Cabrain. Maybe play about with your bows, depending on how many bows you want to take. If there's missions that suit, like sitting back and shooting, but it's really know how this list so much plays. So yeah,
one of the biggest sort of
this.
Yeah, he's pish though.
Such a shame because he's a really cool model.
Yeah.
I guess the one that's maybe worth looking into was what was the other, you had it further up, but the other abilities that he'd taken on his Goblin is probably quite interesting.
Well, that's the thing, like, because one of the biggest, and there's not a whole load of terror causing stuff really in the game just now, but one of their biggest worries is also always like the you maybe break too early and you just completely run off the board, but like these are fearless.
That's that level 3 ability, isn't it? The friendly warrior models within 6 inches of this hero count as having the fearless special role. That's so good. And even if they're out with 6 inches, he's got a Warhorn as well on the tactician.
Yeah.
Pretty much the Oathmaker.
Yeah. So it's like literally the best of both worlds, because when you take the Cabrain and the Usurpers, it's like +1 to wound. But then obviously in the White Hand, they don't get that, but they get, fearless. But this is just chef's kiss, really, for the pigeons.
Yeah. Aye. Yeah, no, I think it's a good, some good choices there for Ian on that one.
I think General Targets hit the fact that he's the exact amount of points as 2 chieftains. So when you're getting over the model count, you're like, I need to take another hero. Right, well, we'll just chop General Target in half and he's 2 chieftains. Now I can lead an extra 12 guys.
Aye, because you want to try and max your numbers out as you can with a list like this.
We ran it as one of our lists at WTC this year, and that was pretty much constantly getting chopped and changed because it was with General Targ, counting up the models, find out we've got too many guys, we need another hero. Eventually just had to get dropped.
It's a bit sort of like, I don't know, even for like topical for me, Minas Morgul as well. Like, it's sort of, you just want to keep running captains, and just, I think that's kind of an addition thing, actually. I think there's just a lot of captains with guys. It seems to be quite strong right across the edition. Moria captain, just, it's a bit of a shame, I guess, if some of the heroes are slightly underpowered, but I guess it's just a meta choice.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, for to summarise for Ian, I mean, not to take anything away, it's obviously a good list. He's wrote a good list for the pack. He must be on some absolute tear. I mean, he did message me last week in the episode, and he was like, "Thanks for bigging me up," and I'm like, it's hard not to, because I mean, over the last like 3 or 4 events, he just seems to be winning them.
Oh, that's exactly. Yeah, no, he's absolutely smashing it. And he did lose one game at this tournament, but so he's went 6-1. It's 6-1. He went, so there was 7-game tournament, so he's went 6-1. But his victory points and his wins were like so good that did allow him to win on tiebreakers in the end. which was against the person that came second, which we will go on to. But Ian's been doing brilliantly since he come back.
Yeah, he
Absolutely
was
smashing it.
It was, yeah, it's good point because actually the game he did drop was to Dougie. It's good to see him at an event because he always flirts with the idea of. I'm always never sure if it's his last game or if it's his first. He's going to win the event. He's always flirting with, on the edge of not playing. I always do with Dougie, but it's good to see it. Is he coming to Scouring?
Yeah, aye, him and Jamie are both coming to Scouring.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I saw him selling all his armies at one point. I was like, see you later, Dougie. But
I think Lewis maybe did sell all of his stuff, so I don't think we'll be seeing
so
him
did
anytime
Dougie as
soon.
well. Yeah, definitely.
I think they both went down to like one good, one evil kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, let's go through Dougie's list. He's normally, if I was to think Dougie, it would probably be Men of the West, and it looks like Men of the West here, is it? He's running Men of the West, yeah. So yeah, speaking of that, he's actually, he's got LSR at 350 points. He's got LSR on the horse. That's hard to deal with, I guess. What was the first two missions for the 350?
So it was Breakthrough and Recon, in which it's a very small army for those two missions, although you do have the extra addition of your Merc giving you like an extra wee hero with a couple of might points, which is nice. But in the Breakthrough they get the Dominant 2 thing roundabout heroes.
Yep.
So that's handy. But it doesn't work for Recon because you're not within range of them when you're off the table. But aye, quite a small army for the 350, but Aragon's also super tough to deal with in a lot of
course,
armies.
the Merc will be an additional hero as well, because obviously Breakthrough, you've got 4 objectives, so the Dominant's not going to be that good, but that wee Merc is another hero to take a few trips over.
Aye, that's exactly it, yeah.
It's one of them. If you can't deal with it, you're kind of screwed. But if it's got a lot of heavy lifting to do for 250 points over 350 point army.
Well, like the Balrog, Aragon's 225 points, so he's not just an easy drop in for the 550 list. So you do need to take him from the start.
I thought that he didn't have to in this pack.
No,
you don't.
Aye, but the fact that he's 225 points and you're adding 200, it's kind of like I'm just going to have to take him from the start.
Unless you're playing points down, that you can't then add him in again. Interesting that he's gone with the Elf Warrior here, especially considering those scenarios. Because I did some chatting with people about this specific list for this event, and the way that I was thinking about taking it when I was going, because I was potentially going to be playing Men of the West, was going the tactician route as well and taking a man for it, because you can get about 18 or so models, which makes those scenarios feel a little bit more comfortable. In my mind, obviously he's done really well with it. But I'd be interested to see what. Do we know what abilities he took with him?
It says on it there. I need to actually look up as to what those ones are, but I do have the pack in front of me. Let me just have
a heroic strike and dual wield specialist.
So
I'm assuming heroic strike isn't actually. It must.
For determined fighter, the hero gets +1 fight value against when he's outnumbered in a fight.
Yeah, heroic strike is just that you gain a heroic, so he's gained heroic strike.
Oh, level 2, right? Yeah.
His dual wielding specialist is that he gains 2 hand weapons, which means he gains a +1 attack as long as he's not using a 2-handed weapon, and any natural roll of a 6, natural to wound roll of a 6 that is not prevented deals 2 wounds instead of 1. So quite nice.
Could you could it have been like a glaive captain? Can you give him a glaive? I don't really know 100%.
No, I don't think the elf could take a glaive. It comes with what it comes with, I guess. But like the elf comes with. It would just come with an elven blade. Yeah, an elven hand and a half sword. So
and you get the choice to add on a shield or a 2-handed weapon, but you wouldn't with the elf because he gets hand and a half anyway. But you get the option for a two-handed weapon and a shield if you want to pay for them for 5 points each.
And then that Berserk Fury that he's taken at level 3 it's kind of like what Bulk has. So you track the kills that the hero's made in combat. Once he gets 1 kill, he gets +1 strength. Once he gets to 3 kills, he gains terror, and once he gets to 5 kills, he gets Harbinger Evil, range 6. So he only has that for the last game, but quite nice to, especially because actually him and Ian played in the last game. He's probably going to be able to kill quite a few of the wee Wildmen in combat to build that
it's
up.
probably more, I'm getting the feeling that he's taking it for like Balrogs and stuff, which is because it'll be fight 6 if you, well, maybe not, if he gets outnumbered, fight 7, he then also can, for Frodo, get to fight 8, and then he has Heroic Strikes. It's a fight 8 Heroic Strike.
The biggest thing, actually, I think the reason he took it was more just for them, again, a modelling opportunity. I don't watch the show, but I know you are quite a fan of that Viva La Dirt League model.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, apparently it's like a model that he'd got from them. I think there's one of the series that they do.
Models. He used one of them.
He used one of their D&D models, and it was named Bob the Elf, which I think is from that show.
Yeah.
Like, it's a YouTube show, so and it was painted up. He kind of tried to theme it as much as he could to like what abilities that guy would have. So it was actually more a theme choice.
You can buy them plain, or you can buy them pre-painted. I can't remember which he bought.
He actually won the favourite Merc award as well. So his opponents obviously quite liked his Merc. So he won that, which was a prize, which was cool.
So he went with Men of the West, and as you say, it kind of grew from 350, just Aragon. I always think it's worth noting the split. So it's 10 Minas Tirith, 3 Rohan. Because actually, I remember when I played oh god, that was, when did I play? I played Doogie with Men of the West, but he was pretty much all Minas Tirith. So the Rohan guys definitely helped with the thrown weapons. So going up to 550, gets Legolas, nice wee addition in it. He's went more of a soup this time, so it is Minas Tirith and Rohan. Now I'm checking.
You need the Rohan for the extra numbers.
Yeah, it's a different kind of play style, because I spoke to Dave Farmer quite a bit about it, and I feel like I mention him all the time, but he is one in the league.
Who's that?
Yeah, he sees Men of the West more of a skirmishy army. So, like, if you look at the way he runs Men of the West, it's heavy Rohan. There's barely any Minas Tirith, and it's just sort of like a shooting-y, skirmishy version, of it. Whereas, like, personally, I was polar opposite, sort of just get a shield wall in there. But yeah, I mean, it's probably the combos, probably the right way. I don't know. It's interesting.
I know that Jakob Crockmall, he took basically a shield wall list to Clydewater earlier in the year, which he won, and he's gone down that shield wall route. So I think it's nice that there's different ways of playing it.
He had plenty of Rohan, because I played them.
Fair.
Exposed. No, I think that you're
not
right.
a lot of Rohan bows though.
Yeah,
from memory.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are taking like 2 per warband at this point, whether that I've seen. I think it's also got to be influenced by what heroes you take. I think obviously Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli tends to be the route that everyone's going. But Doogie himself at Green Hollow earlier in the year brought Gwahir, and I've seen the odd person do that as well, and that, I think, makes you want to lean more towards kind of a battle line style, I think, where your troops become more orientated around holding up the enemy's line and slowing things down, while Gwahir runs around playing whack-a-mole.
I mean, like you say, going up to 750, it's similar concept to Ian. It's just growing. It's just the same thing, but he's getting, so there's a banner getting in there at 750, and then Gimli. So obviously you don't, Aragon gives you a 6-inch banner, but there's no banner VPs. But I'm assuming then, if he's going to pay for the banner at 750, I'm guessing some of the scenarios were banner VPs then.
Some of them were, although I guess this is maybe the only slight, I don't want to say downside, because it was, but criticism maybe of the tournament was that Jamie very late in the day decided to make a change to the pack, which I think was a good change. I just think it's one of those ones that if it was announced in advance before list submission, it would have been a much better time to do it, which was that your merc would count as a banner for banner VPs, not count as an actual banner unless you gave them that ability, but any mission that had banner VPs, it was the merc that was relevant, not your banners. Which I think is a nice change because it means everybody has a banner, which is great. But to not know that when you submitted your list definitely impacted people's merc's choice and people's, like, whether they include a banner or not. So I think that's one of those ones that, like, if you make changes like that, I'd always encourage people to do it before list sub if they could, because I know there was a couple of people like, oh shit, I've taken a warrior as my merc and now I'm a bit more reluctant to throw him into combat because he's worth my banner VPs. But at the same time, as I say, like, I think it's actually a good change. It's just a change that would have been better off knowing before list sub, because it did impact maybe a bit how people had built their lists or what mercs they'd taken.
Yeah.
He did say to me that he was thinking about doing it as well.
It may have just been a late announcement, which is fine. I think, like, maybe in this case, maybe he doesn't bother with that banner because you've already got the Aragon reroll and your merc is the one that's protecting the VPs. So, like, it might have changed things a wee bit, but as I say, it's a slight criticism. It's no.
What did you say the last two games were?
Divide and Conquer and Fog of War, which are the Fog of War certainly doesn't have. No, they're not banner VPs anyway.
But because it's Divide and Conquer, Gimli's not next to Aragon, so
you might want that banner.
I can speak more about that later on, I'll just say.
Fair.
Cool. Solid list. I think Men of the West is definitely making a bit of a comeback. Not that it was like... No, and to be fair, it did disappear for a little bit. I mean, at the start of the edition, it was really good, and then I think maybe everyone's armies came out, tried new things, but it seems to be...
It's the right points level, I think.
I think, I mean, well, you can say that, but I mean, 750, it's 350.
Not to start with, no, but it gets there.
I think it can play at all points, like that's why it's really good.
I think when you're writing an escalation, I guess the sensible play is to, if one of your lists is a little bit weaker, it's better to be the first list, because you're maybe hoping that, like, you get maybe a slightly easier match just in terms of the way the Swiss rankings at tournaments work. Maybe you get an easier match and you can just win it through, like, player skill. I actually think in my own list, I took Lurch's Scouts, and I think that they played much better at the 350 and 550, and I was a bit more worried about the 750, which I knew was probably the wrong approach, because if you've done really well, you're then up in the top tables in the last couple of games, and if your army's lacking a bit in those last missions, you've maybe shot yourself in the foot a wee bit.
It's the opposite.
So I went against my own rules for escalation, but hey.
Actually, I didn't mention, just when you were saying there about harder games. So I don't know if anyone's got more details, but I know that game 5, so it would have been Dougie against, so there's Men of the West against the Usurpers for Ian's in game 5. But would that have been game 4, or did they play each other two games?
They played game 5 and 7.
Oh, of course, I keep forgetting there's 7 games.
They were both on 4 wins after day 1. Might well have been the only people on 4 wins, I think, although Mark O'Brien maybe was on 3 wins and a draw. He might have also been on 4 wins. He was up there as well.
He's my man.
He was also using Men of the West as well, although not the only other person that was using Men of the West. But no, they played games 5 and Dougie won game 5, which was Seize the Prizes against the Usurpers. Which I think is actually a pretty good result, because the Crebain, even though they can't interact with the prizes, they can get to the prizes and just be a nuisance.
I think it was tight win, though, I think Dougie maybe one really small win, and then I think the issue Dougie then had was in game 7 when they rematched. I think it was quite a big win for Ian.
Well, I think Ian's victory points had already been so good in the other games that they knew that if Ian won at all in the last game, he would win the event because his VPs were much better than Doogie's at that point. But if they'd got a draw, then obviously Doogie would be 6 wins in a draw. So, and Fog of War's very drawable. Like, it's hard to play for a draw because the missions are secretive, but just the way the points stack up, it is a mission that can end in a draw more often than you'd think. As it was, Ian did win.
Draws are definitely harder now, but yeah, fair play. Doogie, good to see him. It's a shame because I won. Well, I won last year, didn't I? And was my last game against you, Mark, last year? Or was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, that was last year. We played in the last game.
So the year before that, I think I came second, and it was like Doogie ended up like he was going to win the event, and then he seems to be every year just like one game away. And in fact, actually, at the start of the year at Green Hollow, the 100-point event, he was game 6, the last game against Dave Farmer. He just seems he just seems to be that 1 inch away from getting a big win, but it's a good sign, isn't it? He's doing really well.
Fog of War that done him in, wasn't it?
Well, him and Dave played twice as well at Green Hall.
No, but he had, like, it was Fog of War, and he had one guy in a bit of terrain. He didn't know he needed 2 now.
Yeah, I think that wasn't in the final game. That was the first game that they played.
It tripped up quite a few people, that, because I had a game against Marty and the exact same thing happened.
I remember that being mentioned. Probably people Jamie mentioned now. The next saying how things were going.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I guess the point is he's nearly won that, nearly won this, nearly just. I think has he won an event this year? I don't know.
Not this year. He won Line of Durin last year, and I was like really pleased for him to get that win because you say he has been a wee bit of nearly man, like had a few podiums or even like non-podiums, but competing for the win in the final game and then dropping off. So it was great to see him win Line of Durin last year because definitely a well-deserved win. Because good player, definitely.
Cool stuff.
He's potentially won one of Jamie's non-GBHL events.
Oh yeah, we don't speak about that. We're too sweaty.
Yeah, top Scott, mate.
unless you're running it, because we have to, because you make us.
That's it. Touch your leg.
But third place then is another Men of the West. Like I say, it's about foretelling this that it's making a comeback, and we've scoured in only 2 weeks today. No, 2 weeks yesterday away.
Yeah,
time of recording. I think we're going to see a lot of Men in the West. But again, familiar face. Sick of speaking about you, Alex. But here we go yet again. Another podium event. Must be chuffed to that, man. That's three or four that I can remember in the last sort of events we've done. Men of the West. These points cannot be right because it says 594 and 845.
So these are, I think, all missing his mercenary, who was a 55-point man.
So those are the extra. Yeah, I don't know exactly what mercenary Alex used, but those are the extra points that he's gained from having a cheaper mercenary.
Not sure I know the rules exactly that he took, but he definitely took a tactician that was a good man. Because as I said earlier, I was speaking to people about how I would run Men at the West, and this is that list, or at least part of it anyway. But I know he definitely took the Master of the Reserves, and he took the +1 to wound for the last one. I can't remember what his medal was. What his level 2 ability was.
Well, he's got the LSR on the horse as well at 350, so it's obviously I'm just I think I'm a dinosaur and I don't know the meta, because that's apparently the meta. Just take 250 points Gaffer at 350 and just get on with it. He has a wee bit more Rohan, I think, than what he's got 6 Rohan. What did Dougie had? 3, so
3,
6 and 10, 13 models. He went 7. He went 9, 15, 16 models, yeah, so a wee bit more models, I guess.
Yeah, and that's just from having the cheaper Merc.
Yeah. It's been an interesting choice, but I mean, Aragon, I mean, I guess I don't think we really. In fact, it's a good question. Could Aragon have dropped his horse then? Because I mean, without even looking here, it's going to be Aragon, Gimli, and Legolas.
He could have dropped the equipment, so if he did want to bring Guahir in at, say, the 750 list, Aragon could have dropped off his horse to allow you to then bring Guahir in later.
Unless is that the full list here? Captain or Rohan? He didn't take Gimli. That's very interesting.
All right.
I can't.
It's a lot more models.
It
47
just brings
models.
you a lot more boys.
Cool. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the wrong thing. Probably is, to be honest. But it's,
definitely the wrong thing. That's why he's on the third.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's probably still painting up Gimli. No, fair play.
All you need to do is look at the list above him and then see what happens if he brought Gimli. You know.
To be honest, I don't hate it leaving Gimli behind. I think Aragorn obviously is essential, near enough. Legolas is fantastic, but bringing the captain instead of Gimli for the extra boys, I think is totally fine. Gimli's a good profile, but I don't think he's the difference maker that some people think he is. I mean, I've seen a number of lists do fairly well at international events and in the GBHL go in Aragorn, Legolas, Rohan captain.
Really?
Different points level for sure, but for example, that's what Caleb took to Nations Cup, if I remember correctly. I might have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. And seemed to do pretty well with it. And I think having the extra boys is definitely something to consider over Gimli.
I think that the two missions that he was using that in, Divide and Conquer, extra guys, which extra Dominant 2 guys, is maybe what you want in Divide and Conquer, more so than the extra combat hero from Gimli. And then in Fog of War, it's a trickier one because the Rohan captain is obviously much easier to kill than Gimli, but to get the use out of the Rohan captain, you could just sit it back and not have to commit it, whereas Gimli, to get his points back, is having to go in and commit, which means there's a chance of him at least expending fate points or maybe taking a wound.
You're not just giving your opponent an easy Fog of War target, because the last two games were Fog of War, and you're just going.
You never commit it.
I don't think you are, because there's no, especially with him being the tactician, where he's given the +1 to wound and all that stuff, and that's the value of the hero. There's no reason he should ever be in danger, unless you're against something like a Guahir or a Witch King that's on a FLB, something like that can fly or has some other method of picking you out without having to get through your line. There's no reason he should ever be at risk, and if he is at risk, something's gone very wrong. You're probably losing anyway.
But I mean,
if they mirror match,
points, I mean,
a Legolas would be annoying.
Yeah, that's true. So Legolas can be a problem. However, I think in a lot of situations, if you play well around terrain, and this depends on your board and all the rest of it, so it's not necessarily the case, you can keep him hidden and still get value, because they don't need line of sight for that +1 to wound. So if you can fight around terrain well, and you have terrain that allows you to do it, you can probably keep him out of line of sight of Legolas and still get value from him.
What +1 to win? What are you talking about?
The +1 to win bubble from him being a tactician, the final, his final level. He gets, I think it's a 3-inch +1 to win bubble. A bit like how Irolas gets it for Citadel Guard in Minas Tirith.
But then even then, I'm not loving it, because it's just. I mean, it was worth noting how his games went. Actually, I'm gonna get his. Because I just feel like it's vulnerable.
I think Alex lost 2 games day 1, and then he won all 3 games day 2. But it's worth checking that.
Yeah.
I know he played Chris Stone in the final game in Fog of War, and Chris was using the Bjornins.
I was going to say that, because the Bjornins, you're talking about hiding the captain, they're just going to barge you for days until they get into that captain. That captain is getting deleted, providing it's played correct. What I'd also like to sort of illustrate this with is that this is just obnoxious opinions. Obviously, there's loads of ways to do things and loads of things to run, but I can't personally give me Gimli, because what Gimli also does is he just also helps Legolas, and the combo 850 is just too good.
I mean, even if when Legolas is up on kills, you could easily just toss Gimli into your opponent's gapper and be like 3 attacks plus 1 to win.
Could you pick
Like,
the
Fight 7 for a turn.
see for the Fog of War? Could you choose like the wee mercenary guy?
Mercs. You could choose a mercenary to protect or the mercenary to kill, yeah. I chose my mercenary to protect, and he was sitting giving me a nice juicy 5 points because he was a goblin, so I kept him behind my lines. And then as soon as I broke, despite still having 2 will points, 1 might point, and a warhorn, I double won my courage test, and he ran away.
Did you take? I'd have been quite tempted because I saw Ian took heroic defense on his. I'd have been probably for that reason.
Yeah, I had defense on mine as well. The same too as Ian, defense and resolve. The tactician couldn't take strike as an option, and it was a goblin anyway. So even if you could, you'd be probably know that worthwhile.
Yeah, it's definitely the captain of Rohan.
I think if I was used,
yeah.
I think Gimli's infinitely cooler to take. I mean, having the 3 hunters, like, it's proper iconic stuff, and I think he is also very good. But I do think there's in certain missions, the Captain Rohan, just the extra guys at Dominant 2 is worth its weight in gold. So I can see it. I can see why you take both lists.
That's why I think
both
the
really well.
2, like, if you have Dominant 2, do you really need, like, I don't know. I'm not going to be convinced.
Gimli's just another thing that can deal with threats. That's the way I look at it.
How many more guys are we talking here? Because Gimli's he's 9. I can't remember how much points is Gimli in his
Gimli's
pants.
100 points. I think.
100 these days.
Yeah.
Talking an extra 4 models. I guess if you went Rohan, it could be an extra 5 models. So it's quite.
Yeah, and those models, if they're all Dominant 2, that's 10 models as well, you know, so it's, and as far as objectives go, so I could definitely see why you would take that. And I say, I'm pretty sure Alex did win both his games on day 2, which is the one, all 3 games day 2, sorry. He lost, Alex lost to Douglas in game 3 in Assassination in a mirror match. At that point, he didn't have the captain, so I mean, it was literally just a case, like, it's almost an exact mirror match. And he lost to Marty, who was using Burder's Horde in Hold Ground, again also at 550 points, where he would have been quite badly outnumbered. So
was that on the Saturday?
750.
Both on the Saturday, yeah. So Alex was 2-2 after day 1, and then won all 3 games day 2.
So Gimli wouldn't have made an impact at all because he would have been getting used day 2 anyway.
Yeah.
Aye, and he won his day 2 games with the captain.
What was the big games then? What did he play against?
I played against the Bjornins in Fog of War, and he played in Divide and Conquer. Let me just check.
Was it Finlay? No.
No, it definitely
Chris,
wasn't Finlay.
Stone. Yeah, Finlay was having a sad
It was
time.
Chris Stone.
He played against Shadows of Angmar, piloted by
Fraser
in Divide
and Conquer.
And then Lurch's Scouts. That was in Sea Surprise.
Aye.
Interesting.
Yeah, Finlay was 0-3 after this first 3 games, so he definitely wasn't playing anybody that had a chance of winning.
It wouldn't have been his fault, or Finlay. It would have been the dice. It'd be in the army.
He kept harassing me, being like, I'm coming for you, you're going to lose games, and then I'll win them, and then I'll play you in the last game. But to be fair, in the end, we both went 3-4, so I can't really give him too much jip, but I made sure that we never had to play.
Oh well, fair play, Alex. Disclaimer: these are just our opinions. You do you. You're doing really well.
You suck.
You suck. Take Gimli next time. Nah, fair play.
I mean, he has done really well so far. I mean, I think that's 5 tournaments, and his lowest position's a 4th. So yeah, definitely
2 4ths and 3 3rds.
Doing really well.
Well done, man. Well done. Okay, that kind of takes us to the end of in terms of the list, but we do obviously have another familiar name with Alex as well, which is Alex Burdas with his best painted stuff. 10th one of the year, I believe. Jeez.
Another tournament, another Alex Burdas painting one.
I love it. The army's it's really, really nice. Just some of the details on the banners and stuff like that. Obviously, Azog is quite a cool looking model. But he's gone for like Alex tends to do as well. His lists aren't always optimized, so like you've got like a few of those like Hunter Orcs and Fellworks and stuff that maybe you wouldn't have always be wanting to take in that list. But yeah, looks nice. It was
it's also the second Doggle Doer display board he's done, hasn't he? Because I think he's done it before, but that's a different board.
It is, yeah. That's a new board, or it might have been repurposed, like a slightly repurposed board. But it was cool. He said the main reason he wanted to take it was because it had the ambush ability, and the tournament being ambush at air. That was like his thinking as to why he wanted to take the army this time.
That's generally the kind of way he runs. Like, there's a reason that he won best team or something at the end of last year.
I always think like with like and like a broader sort of discussion with best painted, it's having the bigger picture to. It's not necessarily always like the best detailed painted models. Not that obviously they're amazing, but it's having an eye for kind of like the full theme. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like there are probably better painters, but like what he does is just it just really encapsulates sort of like the feel of the films. Like there's something about what he does. It's just
happy to hear that, Casper.
No, but like I mean, there's like there's like a depth to best painted. I think what he does is just so good in terms of like the theme and the look of it all. Obviously, he's an amazing painter. It goes without saying. You don't win your 10th in a row without it. But I think what kind of sets him apart for this, like, there's loads of great painters, but like what he does better than anyone just now, at least, is the it just looks good. The whole theme of it is amazing. It really does.
He takes a lot of care when he's doing his display boards to place all his models in a way that makes sense. They're not just rank and file looking like an army. They are kind of set up in such a way that they're moving around in a kind of a dynamic way, and to make it look kind of more of a full diorama rather than just some armies, some models on a board. I think he does. He puts in the effort to go that extra step, which is shown by how many wins he did.
There's a lot of a lot of wee things that like make the army look cohesive, even though the actual models might look a bit different. Like you can see in the Hunter Orcs there, they've not all got the same skin tone or things like that, so they don't look exactly the same, but like just the bases or maybe the armor or stuff like that will be the same to tie it in and just make it look like an army, even though each guy's got a wee bit uniqueness about them, which is cool.
That's kind of what I'm saying. It's like, it's not like, so that's not like a technical painting thing. It's not like this green's painted better than that brown. It's what he has an eye for is like you're saying, it's like a.
It's like a design choice, I'd say.
It's like it's like arty, I guess.
It's like composition as well as the actual painting ability.
Yeah.
Not to shoot him down, but how much competition was there?
I think there was like 5. That's pretty harsh, but I think there was like 5. I got a couple of votes, to be fair.
There's no way I can ask that question without it sounding like, I probably was the only one. No, that's not what I'm saying.
There was at least 5 armies that were on display. I think Chris Stone had his Bjornins on display. I had my Scouts, and I can't remember. There was a couple of others.
Matthew there with his light.
Matthew was not there. There was no light, and it was, to be fair, could have been dead with a light because we were in the garage, bit of air, so might have been that light might have been super handy. Like,
I'll bring a heater and a light.
It was Alex Walker in particular. Like, that's like the soft southern blood there. Like, he was talking about how cold it was in that garage. Like, he was desperate to be playing in the other room.
It seems to be a theme with Jamie Moore's events, because his other event in Greenhall, I was the coldest I have ever been when we were in that big event. It was absolutely
that was pretty brutal.
I started with my hoodie off and everything, and folk were like, "Oh, fuck, you're not cold."
I had my jacket over my face and all that. It was freezing.
You're the madman that likes to swim in like an ice cold pool.
This is true, I guess.
In Malaga, Granada rather.
It wasn't that bad.
Okay. What in Green Hollow was freezing. Don't even start. Oh my god.
Oh no, Green Hollow was. I was at the pool in Malaga.
All right, yeah. I mean, it was cold, but it was a bit warmer outside because it was Malaga.
To be fair, Jamie was he was switching the table numbers up a bit, so people didn't have to, like, if you were at the top tables all the time or you were at the bottom tables all the time, you weren't out in the garage. Like, he was taking that on. I think that's also why he's trying to move the event a wee bit further forward next year as well, just because it can get a wee bit chilly in that area, as much as I'm kind of joking about it, because I'm not too bothered about the cold myself, but
Just not buy less prizes and buy a couple, like, heaters.
couple of years.
That's the theme for Jamie's events. You just take a jumper. You're going to be freezing.
On the note of prizes, though, the prizes are really cool. Like those, I think you see in there's a picture of Alex he's got like one of those mini epic figures. They were spot prizes as well, so you could get a mini epic figure by winning the spot prize, which is quite a cool spot prize. I managed to get one of them. It was first general in the middle, so I just drummed lots straight into the middle of the board, which is a bit of a risky play to get a spot prize. But they were cool, and the wee goodie bag that we got was brilliant. Again, if you've got a photo up, but the dice, the ambassador dice look brilliant, like so cool. They got lots, and you managed to get like quite a lot of detail on the dice as well.
Yeah.
And the Lembas bread, it's just shortbread, but it's a nice package, like nice wee, like bit of Middle Earth theme, and then they have some tokens, and it came in a nice wee bag.
Couldn't you just let people believe that you actually got Lambus bread?
Aye. I mean, they might have kept you full all day. But no, it was a nice wee bag.
Shortbread.
And the dice were class as well. I think Jamie still has some of those dice as well, so if you want to get your hands on some of them, give him a shout. I'm sure he'll be happy to sell you them.
Oh, we can sell dice on this podcast, can we? Oh, interesting.
How did I open those floodgates?
I'm missing the monetization. That'll have to come in the second half of the year. The second half of the season.
Otherwise, obviously there's a couple of photos. One of the things that you see in the background of the photos is that big Isengard Orthanc tower.
Yeah, it's cool.
And that's really cool. That's like the coolest board, but does like a lot of the other boards had like nice terrain in them as well, like decent amount of terrain and like different themes. Dominion's a nice venue, like it's class. It is cool. And as much as we were kind of joking about the garage being chilly, it's only really the garage is only really open when they've got like bigger events, but some of the inside playing areas are really, really nice, and it's just a cool venue. Like you walk past it and you don't think much of it. You like it's a really small store frontage, and then you realise quite how many tables they've got inside, and
quite
nice stock and stuff, and a really cool D&D room for folk that like that. So if you live in this sort of Ayrshire, like West of Scotland area, it's a nice place to go and play.
I think it's class. Yeah, I mean, it's been one of my favourite events since it's ran. I've made that quite clear to Jamie. Personally, I'm always quite a big fan on, and I know it's not everyone's favourite, but when it was 6 games, I always liked the 4 games on the Saturday, 2 games on the Sunday. I think it just helps with like family commitments and stuff like that, because you get home a bit earlier. It doesn't feel too bad, the 4 games on the Saturday either, but obviously went up to 7. But it's always been a great event, and like you say, the terrain's class as well, and the mats are, the play mats are all quite varied. There's like different styles and stuff, so it's class.
Aye,
lunch is decent as well.
Lunch was quite nice, just like selection of different like sandwiches or baked goods and stuff. There's a local bakery that they had stuff in, which was good. And the meal on the Saturday night, again, I'm always a fan. I like a meal on a Saturday night where you can go and just chat about the games and just socialise with folk and that. It was like a world buffet type place, and there was a good amount of us went out. So it's like things like that are like you've mentioned before, being a fan of 2-day events. And it's a bit further out, like for us, and being Central Belt, it's like about an hour and a bit away, so it's no like too far to go, but you still has that feeling of being away somewhere and being away for the weekend, which is nice. But you can get back quite quickly on the Sunday night. Despite my terrible results over the years, like I mean, I've a negative win-loss ratio in here, which is a shocking indictment of how bad I've done there over 3 years. I still always really enjoy it, despite just doing crap every time I go. So I don't know. I guess that's a reasonable praise to say that. Do rubbish but still enjoy the event. So
it's funny, I must have your mojo for Ayr then, because Ayr's like I don't know, something about the air in air. When I just go, I get my best results in there, to be fair.
It must just choke me, like.
We didn't actually go into much detail there, but we did get Paul Meikle, really class guy, love the man, getting some most sporting.
I had my first game with Paul, which was game 7. He did get my most sporting vote. We had just had like a bit of a mental game because we were both using lots of scouts. It was a mirror match in Fog of War. Thankfully, our models were painted slightly differently, so you could tell which one was which. But good fun, nice guy, nice opponent, and I know he's keen to get to more events next year as well. He's just always, his work doesn't always allow him to get to them, but
he's got a wee Bambino as well. That he has to work around. But yeah, fair play. Any closing thoughts on Air then?
No, I mean, glad to see it back in the calendar because it was a late edition. I know that Jamie had, it wasn't original in the calendar and he's added it back in because he wanted to make sure an event was still running. And it's good because it serves that part of the country well because there's nothing else really in. Like, we've got a lot of events in Glasgow, but, like, that's much further west, so that's cool. And as I say, always a fun event. And I think, the Merc thing is here to stay, I believe. I don't want to, put too much pressure on Jamie for that, but I think I know if talking to him, he's planning on making some tweaks to it next year and just continuous improvements, which is cool. So, good event and well done to the guys that did well. Another big result for Ian, which is good, and another podium for Alex, another painting award for Alex as well. We had a lot of the same faces, but it's guys that are having good years. Yeah. Nice to see Dougie back though, and Paul getting us both sporting as well. So, aye.
It's good to see the event keep running. Cause I know he's been under quite a lot of pressure with he's got kids and stuff as well. But I would like to see it go to 100-point event because I feel like it kind of has that feel about it. It has this it feels like a, you know what I mean? Like, not that some 90s you go to and they're maybe kind of just sort of like, I kind of go and turn up. I have fun, but I think there's something about Air, probably because it's a 2-day event. I think it just needs to get the player count, and it would maybe change the feel of it. I don't know, but
I think it's 2 days. It's quite well established in terms it's been for a while. So there are certain things about it that make it feel almost like a bit of a hallmark event, which there are, and that's not to say that other 90s aren't, but there are some. I mean, obviously Lidl's won Last Alliance, it's only a 1-day event, but it feels like a big deal in the calendar as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's sometimes that establishedness, once events have been going for a few years and they've got that bit of reputation, people will, when they're picking the events out at the start of the year that they want to go to, there's certain events that will be like, oh, well, that's a highlight event. I need to make sure I go to that.
Yeah.
And other events, particularly newer ones, they've not got that sort of existing rep. So it's like you go along, you enjoy it. But until that word of mouth gets out, it maybe isn't as much a fixture. And here definitely is. So
I agree, yeah. What I was going to mention as well is looking at this ugly coupon on the screen just now. John JMac Armies, he's actually got 2 channels now. Can't really remember why, but he is doing an Air vlog. So as time of record, I don't think it's up yet, but I'll put the links in the chat for that. So if anyone wants to maybe get a deeper dive into John's experiences at the event, but we'll be looking at his face here. Probably had a unique experience.
His face only gets worse. I can tell you that without spoiling it. I was out with John and Spoons until John left Spoons, not necessarily for his own choice. And then we played game 5 as well, and definitely I think buying him a few extra shots on the Saturday night might have done me wonders for my game 5. Because he was to say hanging as being polite.
Bribed them. Oh, well, yeah, keep an eye out for that.
It'll be always entertaining.
Yep, takes us to end. Now, and a bit of a Witch King one-off special. I need to run and be a dad, so for an hour at least.
Rather than hang around and congratulate me, cheers, Casper.
Well, actually, you're giving spoilers here. Actually, yeah, Kelpie Conquest coming up, but actually, I think Mark's gonna introduce it. I'm going to go and be a dad for a bit. However, we'll be
Sit in the
back.
shower.
Oh God, I've not been very well. I haven't been very well, but yeah, we'll be back. I'll be back next time. We'll be speaking a bit about scouring, but yeah, I'm just gonna bow out gracefully. I'll leave you in the safe hands of my good friends here. I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.
Cheers, Casper.
I see you,
See ya.
Aye, so that then, wrapping up here, brings us on to the next tournament we're looking at covering, which is Kelpie Conquest 2. Up in Keith at Kelpie Games, it was 5 games, 800 points, GBHL 90, tailed by Dylan Shepherd, who's ran a few events up that way and services that community quite well. And making it easy for us was won by our very own Alan Liddell. Someone set off the party popper. Keeping the content fresh, he was running Men of the West. So do you want to dive into a little bit of your experience with the event, the list that you ran, all the rest of it?
Yeah, well, I mean, going into it, again, it was one of those events that you can see, the scenarios going into it. So noticing that game 2 was Contest of Champions, that immediately put me off what I was potentially going to be running, and then I was just like, aye, that'll do, Men of the West, Aragon, go for it. I was not exactly prepared for the lists when they were dropped, when I saw 3 Balrogs. That did not look good at all. And of course, walk in on the Saturday morning to find out that I am playing not only a Balrog, but the one ran by Christopher Murfitt. I was like, this is no great, this at all. The table we had was quite not that bad though, because I won the roll-off for deployment, so I chose the side that had a tower in the way of the objective. God, that was game 1.
It was Breakthrough.
Right.
Game... Nope, sorry.
No,
it was not Breakthrough. It was Stake a Claim, yeah. So the fortification points scoring at the end of every turn, the newer one.
So you had 1 in the middle and 2 on either end, plus 1 at the back. So there was a tower that had the middle one behind it. So I chose the other side, so the tower would be in his road. So you'd have to go around it, plus if it come to it, then I could maybe have Aragon fighting away from the Balrog, so he couldn't see me, to whip me. But that didn't exactly come to that either. Ultimately, the captains marched up, Aragon marched up. I grabbed a hold of 2 of the middle objectives and went ahead on points. I think I won priority game turn 2 and gave it to him, so he came forward. And then I saw my chance and I was like, I'm just going to go for it. I managed to throw Aragon into the Balrog, trap him with 4 guys, I want to say. Plus spear supports, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure how many extra dice, but it was enough to make me go 2-handed with Aragon. Plus for Frodo, so I was like, I'll be wounding him in 3s with 8 attacks, rerolling 1s. Let's just go for it. The idea was to hopefully have Gimli in there as well, but he was on the other flank taking on the other objective. But it came into combat, called for Frodo, struck, went up to 10, we both rolled a 6. Thankfully it went to me. Rolled all the normal guys first and done 1 wound, and I was like, ah crap, can't even kill it. And then Aragon just went 8 3-ups. That's the Balrog into 1 wound. I was like, alright, okay, that's handy. On my right flank, I had Legolas and a guy fighting goblins. Without even thinking about it, usually you would do your troops first, so you don't have to waste might. So I stuck with the spear support and killed the goblin. And then I was like, I've not got any kill count with Legolas now. But that actually came in handy turn 3 when I won priority, went first. Gimli threw an axe at a goblin, hit, rolled a 40 wound, and used the point of might, which then put him up on kill counts, so I got a plus 1 to wound at Legolas. So of course I charged the Balrog again, and Legolas was just aiming for the biggest XP steal of the game. Go for I got the hit, the 2-up auto hit, and then I rolled a 40 wound, and I'm right, point of might. Without thinking about it, I just rolled the dice, and I rolled a 1, and of course later figured out that he needed anything but a 1 to just finish off the Balrog. And I was like, see if that cost me this game. Because the Balrog won that second combat, done 3 wounds in Argon, which I miraculously passed all 3 fate. I was also on fire at that point, because after the first turn, I lost the horse, and I was just like, aye, the horse has done its job, it can die now. And then I was like, oh, I think Legolas killed someone in that fight, so it made the kills even. And then the next turn, Gimli managed to throw at somebody else and go up again and put the pressure on him. But it did come down to the third combat, and I won that, and because he never rolled a 6, and then just killed the Balrog. And then from there it was just, yeah, mop up. I got ahead of him in fortification points, and that was pretty much the end of that game. I think it was a 12-1 victory.
Solid, especially for a nasty matchup. I suppose you've also got the option, if you have to, with that, once the Balrog's down on 1 wound, is you can throw Aragorn and continually call defences until he eventually loses, and then just drop a wound on him with Andrew.
Well, again, I was just trying to finish him off, so I was just calling the heroic strikes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it's worked out for you.
Aye, skin of my teeth, like, but I mean, Gimli on the other flank, because of the whole, as we spoke about earlier, the dominant 2, he was just constantly getting the 1 point there, and then because I was ahead, I was just trying to stay ahead, so it was like, I'm obviously outnumbered by goblins, so if I had the spear support, I would be fighting, but if I didn't, I would just shield and take small kills here or there. And like I said, that game went 12-1. Going into game 2, it was like Contest of Champions, and I found out I was up against Assault on Helm's Deep that was just spam Urukai, so it was Aragorn versus an Urukai captain. So there was very little to worry about there. The opponent knew that as well.
Who was it that was
just kind of like one of the local guys up there. It was Ryan Morrison.
Oh, right, okay, so, yeah, no, I'm aware of.
It also helped that the first couple turns I just won priority, took it obviously, and then he was sort of moving, and I was just like, have it. I'll save Aragorn's might to make sure he wins the fight and just chip away.
I think the reason he'd gone for that list was just because he wanted like an Urukai horde, but not to have to take Saruman. And it's kind of the only really way you can do that. So he wasn't so interested in actually using Assault on Helm's Deep for the bombs and the ballistas. It was more just, I want as many like classic Urukai warriors as I can get on the board, and if I take Muster, Saruman obviously eats into my numbers, so it's fair enough.
I think it was like a captain, 2 berserkers, 4 guys with shields, and 4 guys with pikes, times 4, something like that.
Aye. Yeah, that sounds about right.
At the end of my game, he was saying if he could drop a berserker, a shield, and a pike in each warband, and just add in 3 crossbows. Again, per warband.
Yeah.
But
I
mean, it's a bit of shoot threat to just stand back shooting at the combat with Aragorn and hope you either kill my horse or his guy.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like you've done well to come up against that in that scenario, because there was, as you mentioned, there's 3 Balrogs, there's a Beorn as well. There was definitely quite a few other leaders that would have been scarier, but equally Aragorn's also in that category. Like, I mean, I was using lots of scouts, and I knew that Contest was going to be my worst mission by far.
Especially after the list drop.
Yeah, that was compounded when I seen the lists drop. So, having just an Urukai captain as your opponent, you're definitely happy when that's what you're up against in Contest, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the best one I could have had out of the armies that were there.
He probably was, yeah. I ended up against a Durin, which wasn't as bad as it could have been for me. Like, I mean, again, if I'm up against the Balrog, maybe even Aragorn, Beorn, they're probably all losses. Against Durin, I might be able to keep the pace, but I just continue to hate on contest and like do not enjoy that as a mission at all. Like played against Duncan Peacock in that one, and he killed Lurch turn 1 with June. It's like, well, that'll be that. Just that'll be that game over.
That's pretty.
It's a shame because actually, like, it's nice to get a game in with Duncan. He doesn't play a lot of events, so it's nice to actually get a game in with him. But to like have your general just die turn 1, it's like you've literally lost the game unless you table your opponent, which you're not tabling a Khazad-dûm army.
No dwarfs. No.
Especially in one of the few matchups there where you've got a good chance of potentially.
It's just one of those ones that like. That's a slight just on contest. I'm not a massive fan of this change where you need to roll to deploy in the middle. It didn't. I wouldn't say it cost me my game because actually both of us rolled. Neither of the two of us rolled a 4+, so we only had our generals 2 warbands in the middle. But it could be really imbalanced if someone gets like their entire army in the middle and one person only gets a warband in the middle. Although I had set it up with, I'd sort of positioned in mind that I could use a heroic move from someone who wasn't Lurch in the first turn, and then there was no one other than Lurch there. So, but he was in the same boat. We both had to call it. Well, we didn't have to, but like he called it, so I countered, and then he won it. He went into combat with me. We both struck. We both rolled a 5 or a 6, so I struck to 9. He strikes to 10. He wins the fight, does 3 wounds on me. I fail my 3 6-up saves. Roll a 1 on my fate, and that is unlucky, obviously, but the fact that that's a thing that can happen just puts me off that mission.
I'm not a fan of that.
It's kind of
before.
It's a shame.
You had the choice that if you rolled the 4-up, you could just deploy anywhere within the 24 inches.
Yeah, you did before. Yeah, you could. So you could always have your whole army up beside you unless you wanted to not be for some reason. Maybe you want to keep a Legolas a bit further back or something like that. But now you have to roll the 4-up to go into the middle, and I think that's made a scenario I already wasn't keen on worse, which is a shame because they have changed it with being able to pick your champion as a nice change, especially if you're running someone like Lothlorien or that. You don't necessarily want Galadriel as your champion.
You definitely don't. Unless she's maybe got like a free Andrew.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I know, I think
you've got one of the better armies though to maybe counteract that in a way, because you could just like deploy a thin line without gaps, and Lux and as many Urika as possible run backwards to link up with the rest of your army.
They can do that, but I feel like
they can get back into the fight quicker that way than his gappers, other heroes that are walking up 5 inches.
Also,
I toyed with that, and I mean, there's an argument for
on you winning.
It's a bit of a boring play, like given that the mission is like Contest of Champions, and your champion has just legged it in the other direction.
So I think in my game specifically, Duncan felt that his only win condition was to kill Lurch early. Like we chatted about it after the game, and that was quite a nice thing to like just have a chat about like both your thoughts in the game because we had plenty of time. But it was interesting to like find the opponent's strategy there, and that was his opinion, and he fought that because he felt that with the 3 heroic combats, Lurch would just naturally outpace Durin. I would say I was less confident on that purely because he does have quite a bit of defense 7. Like the Rangers that are the easy kills, they weren't really in that warband that was right up at the front. So for me to kill the D7, yeah, I should be able to just charge one guy, roll a 5+ to wound, kill it, move on, and maybe kill something. But I don't think it's a given. Like there's definitely ways to mess that up. But I think Duncan felt that it was a case of if he doesn't kill me immediately, I'll get off the flanks and I'll just start killing stuff for the 3 heroic combat, and he won't possibly be able to catch up.
Even if it can sit one of his other heroes in front of Lux for a turn.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that
down, but he's got the movement 8. So like even if he fights a warrior one turn, sees like the captain or the king next to him, he can heroic combat off him and then zoom down the line 8 inches.
I just think there's ways for me to mess up my heroic combat, whereas I think Durin reliably kills 1 or 2 scouts a turn. Like, he's wounding the scouts without shields on 3s, rerolling 1s. Even the scouts with shields, he's wounding on 4s, so he can happily charge 2 and have a pretty good chance at killing 2. I don't think it was in my opinion, I don't think that was his only win condition, but Duncan did feel that way, and that's the play he went for, and like fair play, he totally pulled it off. So, like one of those hindsight things, but like it totally worked out for him. In that regard, as I say, I'm not a fan of the mission because I think that it has potential to be really cool and it has potential to be an actual contest and a chase, but so few times have I ever played it that it's run that way. I've had a couple of games that have been like, oh, I'm on 7 kills and my opponent's on 8, and like they're proper, really exciting, and it has such a high potential to be a fun game, but there's such, like, so often it's just one of the champions dies really early and that's just the game's done within a couple of turns.
I mean, that might speak in your army though as well, because that's 2 games
possibly,
that you've been using lots, and you've came up against Contest.
I've had it happen over the years with Balin and things like that as well. I know he also only has 1 fate, but just not a scenario I'm particularly a fan of.
I think it's also something that's more prevalent in this edition.
No, he's still in 2.
I think it's also something that's more prevalent this edition, given the meta shift towards having bigger heroes. Armies like Arnor and the like are less common, although still good. They're less common and they kind of hold less of a meta share, I think. Whereas your Men of the Wests, your Balrogs at lower points, Eagles, that kind of thing, they kind of perpetuate that problem, and they're really, really popular.
Aye. Well, I mean, that was just like a bit of an aside thing on Contest, but another good win for yourself, though. So game 3, you moved on to
top painter, Mr. Alex Badass Burdass, as he's now called. Oh god, it was Maelstrom. What Maelstrom was it?
It was the Sights of Power, the new Maelstrom one with the objectives.
We were trying to constantly remember to roll the dice to find out what these sites were, and of course if like Fearless came up, we were like, irrelevant. Men of the West here. He rolled a 5 for priority, and I was like, oh great, here we go. But then I rolled a 6 and I was like, so I gave him priority, and he had Gandalf the White, Eomer and Erkenbrand. They all came on from the east or west, like my right, so his left. And then his captain rolled a 2, which later on in the game he says that he made a mistake by not mighting it. I put him down in the faraway corner on like my immediate left. Then Legolas rolled like a 3. I used a point of might to come on right behind them. Gimli rolled a 5, came on right at the side of them to pretty much sandwich them in. Aragorn rolled a 1, stayed off the board. We did forget it was night fighting, so that may be why I killed a grand total of 0 models out of his 1 captain and 2 riders, with like 6 or 7 thrown spears, a thrown axe, 3 Rohan archers, and Legolas. I managed to kill nothing. Turn 2, he decided to, rather than run away, he just charged in. I was like, okay, well, no need to have to chase you down then. Aragorn came on beside the rest of my army, so it was just pretty much going to be a battle line for him to fight through. Mopped up the captain and 2 guys pretty easily, and then eventually we just fought it out where a battle line of Rohan warriors that maybe get fight 4 on the charge doesn't stand up to more attacks, always fight 4, fight 5 per turn, and then you've got Legolas, Gimli and Aragorn. Aye. So it pretty much just slaughtered these troops slowly. His casting wasn't great with Gandalf. He got 1 spell off by using a point of might, and then I just resisted. So it definitely was not his day. But I might have 20-0'd him. It was bad. Because the game, I just obviously was shielding to make sure I never quartered him, so I could send guys to all the objectives that he just left. Which he's only got like 20 models, which immediately went down to 17. And he never left anyone behind. And I was like, I can understand that, because you do need like every model at your disposal here to help fight and break me. But it just wasn't happening. Had plenty of troops to spare to just send off to go towards objectives near the end. And that was pretty much the end of day one. Day two started off with retrieval against Duncan. He did know that it was going to be he could just sit back because he's got the shooting with the Dwarven Mirrors, but he didn't really want to play like that, so he went right up for it. I think I won priority, gave it to him. He came forward, Aragon charged into 2 Iron Guards, called a combat, ran backwards just to get 2 kills, and then it was, I think he killed Gimli first, and he was telling me that it was you get extra victory points for heroes to a maximum of 2, so he was technically winning 1-0. We were getting close to breaking, but I mean, one person breaks, the other one's not far behind, so I think I broke him first, so then I was 1-3-1, but it was going to be like, we'll play another turn, he's got like 2 or 3 models to kill to break me, he should break me, so I need to concentrate and try and kill some of the heroes, which he's got a Dwarven King and a Dwarven Captain. I managed to kill the Dwarven King, and the Dwarven Captain had been trapped, so he wasn't going anywhere. It was just a case of, am I going to get a chance to actually roll 60 to kill him? Which I did, and then the game ended like that would be 3-2. We both break. I kill 2 heroes, he kills 1. The artifact wasn't moved at all.
It's an interesting addition to Achievable, that hero killing one, to make it a little bit more diverse and less focused around the objective. I quite like that. I've not played it this edition, but having that additional objective, that I think is quite nice.
Yeah, I think the thing about retrieval there's a lot of points in the relics, but unlike a contest, both players can achieve those lot of points, which is quite nice. So like that I quite like about it. There was one of the games that was played. Alex Burdas played Chad Band, I think it was, one of the Balrog players, and I think he won 17-16. So there is scope for some really high VPs. Whereas in a one like a contest, if one person's doing well at what the main focus of the mission is, it locks the other person out from getting any VPs whatsoever on that. So like I quite like retrieval for that, because you can have some like quite interesting point scores, or you can have games like yours and Duncan's where no one touches a relic at all, and it does end up just being a wee 3-2, but you've got those extra points for heroes now to.
The only cavalry model that you get is Aragon, and he has to be in the thick of it, getting kills.
Yeah.
Like there was a point where I could have struck against the Dwarven King, but I was like, I need to break him here at the moment, so we'll just get rid of models. Like he's got something like 12 Iron Guard, so that's a lot of extra dice thrown at me, and then strength 4, so if he breaks up my shield wall, he's killing me in 5s, so I was trying to concentrate, get rid of them. Like knowing about the Dwarven ability of pretty much battlefield-wide banner if they're outnumbered by dice, I was playing it very safe. Like somebody would go into one dwarf and then shield, just to give me the extra dice plus a potential banner. But speaking of, I did take a banner in my Gimli's Warband because we did have Breakthrough and Maelstrom. So I knew there was going to be 2 games probably where I was going to be separated, so I was like, I actually do like the banner. And in the grand scheme of things, it was a difference in 2 extra models. So it was like taking my model count from 39 up to 41, so I thought it was worth it.
Aye, no, that's fair.
And as Mark had said about the Rohan Archers, I've got like 2 in Aragon's Warband, 2 in Gimli's, and 1 in Legolas. Just because, well, Legolas can shoot anyway.
Sometimes Legolas is enough to win a shooting war, depending on what you're up against. Just like the reliability of what he can do in the shooting phase.
Yeah, well, he was worried
that shoot a lot more archers.
He was worried that I could just sit back with Legolas, hide behind a bit of terrain, and snipe one of his characters, or a wound on Durin, and then win that way. And then he would still have to come at me anyway. So I can see why you don't want to do the shoot-off. Because Legolas standing there with the Elven Cloak will eventually chew up your models.
From a Khazad-dûm point of view as well, like because you are so slow, if you're wanting to make any sort of break for the relic, you probably have to decide that in the deployment phase almost.
Like you have to.
If you do sit back and go, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to use my bows and I'm going to use my mirrors, you're almost saying at that point, I'm unlikely to touch the relic.
Aye.
And that, so that is a conscious effort. Whereas other armies could sit back but still have like bits of cavern stuff to go and try and bother the relic. But you kind of have to make that decision at the start of the game with Khazad-dûm.
Like he left a couple dwarf rangers near his mirror, and then because he had about 12 of them as well. It was roughly about 12 rangers, 12 iron guard, 5 Khazad guard, which I thought was on the low end, and then half a dozen warriors or something. So the warriors I wasn't that bothered about because they're strength 3, so I knew they were killing my defence, my Minas Tirith and 6s. So if I went for anything to kill, I was trying to obviously kill the Iron Guard or the Khazad Guard. But yeah, I think if he'd committed the extra warriors to the fight and just tried to overwhelm me from the start rather than like sit back and take a wee random pot shots. Because that's pretty much what I use my Rohan archers for, is to sit back and defend the objective. If anything, if they can shoot something, they'll just take the shot. But if something breaks through, they're there to like charge them and make sure they're not going anywhere near that relic.
Yeah. So I think going into that last game then, you were the only person on 4 wins at that point.
Yeah.
But there was...
Like, you, Stoff, Duncan. I think you were the only 3 on 3. Oh, no,
Alex as well. So there was table 1 was yourself and Duncan again in a rematch. And then I was playing Chris on table 2. And then Alex was on table 3, I think, against Gary. But Alex was the pair down at that point that he was 3-1, whereas Gary was 2-2. So there was there was a possibility that there could have been 4 people ending the tournament 4-1. Like if Duncan beats you, are both 4-1.
Yeah.
The winner of me and Chris's game, and then if Alex wins against Gary, there is a world where there's 4 people on 4-1. But they did have major minor victories at this tournament as well. So it's not just
a case. I did make a point to ask Dylan going into the game, like, can I see where we're standing so I know exactly what I need to do here? Because that's something that I'm not sure if it's how he put it on Admiral, but we couldn't look at the standings as we were.
I guess worth touching on that at the moment, I suppose, is that this one was held on Tabletop Admiral, which is, I think it's the first. Duncan did one early. Not Duncan, sorry. Dylan did one early in the year on it, but I think it's certainly the first TO to have adopted Tabletop Admiral as a way to run tournaments. Obviously, we see most of the lists that we end up showing are written on Tabletop Admiral, and it's such a common thing that people use nowadays. But the guy that runs it. Yeah, the guy that runs it's looking into, he has done, set up a way to run tournaments from it, like similar to how Longshanks works, or the MESBG army tracker that is used in a lot of the European events. My thoughts, I guess my own thoughts from having used it, for list submission it's great because you're just using the TTA list builder, so that's nice. And obviously as a TO, it means you're not really having to check the list because it's doing that for them anyway. So that's nice. The way that putting the scores in was quite easy. Like it was pretty fine to do that. But it was a change that some people really like and some people won't compared to Longshanks, which is that at no point could anyone participating in the tournament or anyone out with the tournament see the standings. The only person that can see the standings is the TO. And I think some people will really like that because for some people, they like that level of secrecy. They like that people don't know so much how other people are doing. You can't really go, well, actually, I need to just play this for a draw, or if I get an extra couple of VPs, I'll avoid this person. But other people will hate it because they love that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a choice from Dylan's end or if it's a choice from the developer to just like that's something you can't. TTA just doesn't show. It doesn't even show the standings now if you go up on it post-event, which I thought was a bit weird. I did think that was maybe, like, it would have been nice if it... Dylan's obviously posted up the results and they'll be on the GBHL rankings when they go in, but the fact you can't see the results post-event, I think it's a bit annoying. You can sort of work it out because it shows you the win rates of the factions. So, like, I was the only person using Lurchley Scouts, and it shows that Lurchley Scouts went 3-2 at this event. So you can go, oh, well, Dave went 3-2 at this event. But when there's multiple people using Depths Moria, for example, and it's
the same
showing that they went 8-7 or something, it's harder to tell, oh well, how did those Depths of Moria players do? And so I think that for what I've heard though, and what Dylan was saying, that the guy that runs it's super responsive, so like he can give him feedback directly, and he believes that he'll act on that. And certainly when I've seen him replying to posts in the GBHL and stuff, he does seem to be on it. Like if folks say, oh, that's maybe not quite right, or that could be a bit better, he goes and tinkers. So I think it has scope to be a cool thing. I'm just not. I quite like seeing the ladder. I do. I like being able to hide it for the award ceremony. I think that's good because it is nice to not be certain who the podiums are, and sometimes Longshanks can kind of spoil the award ceremonies a little bit. But seeing a running tally of how you're doing after the other results, I like that more about Longshanks than this. So I think with pros and cons as with everything.
No, like after asking him, I knew I needed to win because if well, a draw would have been fine, but if Duncan won at all, he was ahead of me in PPs, and I was like, that'd be kind of a disappointment if I had just beaten him, and then I get beat and he goes above me off top of that. That would have been quite annoying.
What Ian did to Dougie at Ayr, just as we've seen at the last event.
At least that wasn't back to back.
No, this is true. You and Duncan did spend a lot of time together on that Sunday, like this 2.5 hour games.
That's the best Sunday of his life.
His opinion might be different.
Nah, that's words from his mouth. It was Breakthrough. Was the no Breakthrough. Divide and Conquer was the last.
Divide and Conquer was the last mission, yeah.
So again, that's why I opted for the banner on Gimli, because I was fully and the extra models in Aragon's Warband, because I was fully expecting to have Aragon in one corner, Legolas and Gimli in the other. And this went a lot worse for him the second game, just because he felt like he needed to march. So he marched as a king. Both kings were in one corner, and the captain was in another. The captain, who probably, I don't know how you do it really, but he pretty much went straight for Aragon. Aragon went straight for him, because I was like, Aragon will just mince this warband, and then I'll be up on the models, and I'll send Aragon into the centre, which is effectively what did happen. Whereas in his Dwarf King marched twice, which meant he only had 3 might left in Durin when he reached and overlapped the centre. So Aragon was happy to use 2 points of might maybe, because I still had 6 with Legolas and Gimli. But as soon as Aragon got stuck in after he dealt with the captain, he knew he couldn't deal with him. Like, he saw one option of going in and just surrounding him, striking up, and then hoping for the best. And then I was just like, I'm not even going to risk this strike. Heroic defense. I think he had 14 dice. So it was 7 attacks from a combination of different guys, but obviously they were just wounding me on 6s anyway. So the first one went on the horse, killed it. Right, okay, I'm in the centre now, I don't really need the horse. I've still got 12 dice coming at me. He managed to get 1 6, which I just saved to the Fae. I was like, I felt a bit bad there, but I mean, it is what it is. And then at that point, he'd moved with Durin, he'd struck with Durin, and the turn that Aragon entered the centre, I called for Frodo and heroic combated just to tease Durin, because I could charge him. So he struck to stop me charging him. So that was a out of might. So after that, it was just Aragon fighting Durin, I'll strike, right? And I think it was 2 turns later, I killed Durin, and then it was just wipe out. I was forgetting that these Rangers and Warriors are dominant too. But I mean, that was coming to the point where that was all he had left on the centre hill was Dwarf Rangers. But everyone else, it was just scattered fights of, there's a Warrior Minister fighting a Iron Guard, I will shield. I get 2 attacks, you get 2 attacks, you do not get your banner, but I've got mine. So I've got 3 attacks to win the fight, and it was just delaying him. He had his banner on the hill with 1 Dwarf Warrior. Legolas shot them, rolled a 5 and a 6, and I just used the point of might to kill them both. Again, I was just so ahead on might, and I was like, just throwing it away at that point. But I mean, it was like wise. It wasn't just throwing it away at anything. It was like killing the banner. And he just
the banner, I think, from, again, like for Kazdan point of view, the Iron Guard benefit a lot more from the banner, obviously, than a Khazad Guard would, because a lot of the time a Khazad Guard is fighting 2 models, so it's going to get that army bonus reroll, whereas an Iron Guard doesn't get the army bonus reroll, where a banner's actually really useful if you've got an Iron Guard heavy, which again was something that me and Duncan had a bit of chat about in terms of I prefer the Khazad Guard heavy approach with few Iron Guard, whereas he was kind of the opposite in how he'd built the list, but I think the Khazad Guard lean a little bit more into the army bonus.
I don't know if you can remember how many like dwarf warriors he had, but of course they're the only guys in his army that can pick up that banner.
Aye, it wasn't loads, like, because he had quite a lot of Rangers.
I feel like it was maybe about the 6 or 7 mark, and he pretty much had like 12, 12, 12. But I mean, no. Well, he had 44 models, because he outnumbered me by 5. So you will be able to work it out like that. But I mean, that dwarf captain would have had, like, say he had 4 in each warband or something.
Yeah.
4 were already dead. A lot of the other ones are already scattered about the board. So, obviously, he was just not expecting me to averagely out my 3 shots with Legolas. I probably do kill 1, but the other guy picks up the banner. It's fine. It's just obviously getting lucky and getting a 5 and a 6.
Aye.
The dwarf captain's dead. The dwarf king, I can't really remember. He was getting up to. I might have killed him in the end, but I don't know. But it was just the fact that Durin obviously went to try and kill Aragorn and then was stuck in front of him. And he had no might to like heroic move and get out of the way.
Yeah. So a solid win on the list at the end there. And interesting that you played Duncan back to back. Do you know what the score was in the end of it, roughly?
No, exactly. No.
Nah, fair. But
the major minor.
It was a major because he was 2 off at breaking me. He never even broke me in the end in that game, which is what I felt was a bit bad. But it was just again me coming down to shielding to get the extra dice. I don't need to kill him now. Aragorn's pretty much done everything he needs to do in order to break him. I had one
major criteria.
The major criteria was getting at least 10 points and having double.
Yeah.
So I do believe I got major.
Aye. Well, I saw it winning. Nice to see
I did break him. I killed Durin, so that's 6. I gained the centre, which is he would have had guys left, but I had more.
Yeah.
I think he had one dwarf warrior live on one of the flanks, and I had 2 guys, so that nullified. And I think he got a point for the other flank because it was 1 dwarf ranger. I had like 1 Rohan archer that just decided to. It was like a Rohan village with houses on the outside and a hill in the middle. So I ran a dwarf a Rohan ranger archer all the way around one house, and then he managed to survive getting shot for a turn, one of the rangers, because he was broken, ran away, and then I was just going to hide behind the dwarven mirror, but then they don't block line of sight. What the hell?
Yeah, it's just objective marker essentially.
That's bloody weird. That I thought it would have counted for a bit of terrain or something.
I suppose it then means you've got to standardise them.
He managed to survive anyway, so he was still one of my models on the flank objective. But again, I had the centre, so it was. If it wasn't a major, it was close to being one.
No, solid.
Regardless for yourself, you went 5-0 and you're the only person to do it, so
yeah.
I don't think major minors didn't matter too much in the end. But no, great result for you.
Aye, nice to see the time you've put into playing Men in the West pay off, because is that the 3rd tournament this year you've used them?
Possibly.
But a few anyway, so it's good to see it finally come off.
I used it at Point of Might because it was a potential list for WTC, but that was without the horse and Aragon, and you take the horse and Aragon.
Yeah, for sure. And not the only familiar list on. Yeah.
Sorry?
No, I was just going to say, not the only familiar list on the podium, with Stoff coming in second with Depths of Moria, another
yes
familiar face there.
Aye, a bit less, probably Aye, I mean, I think it's actually the first time that Chris has podiumed, certainly since we've been doing the podcast, so nice to see a new name in that regard, but definitely no a new name to podium in general.
Aye, for sure.
Unfortunately, not a new list at all, so probably no one that we're going to talk about too much, but I mean, 62 models, 800 points, he's just gone the Balrog route, which I think is right. I don't think you would really go for the Watcher and the Balrog unless you're maybe playing like 900s. Or you knew the missions were good for it. So 62 models. He's got 3 captains, a shaman.
He's
got a few bows. He actually does have a few bows in there.
He's got a lot of bows. Because pretty much just
more than
using what he's got
take.
painted.
17, I think.
I think the shooting, as much as it's not great, to be honest, because it's goblin shooting, its weight of numbers can do a lot. So, like, I know some people just don't take archers at all, but I think having a few of them, the weight of numbers, you've got so many goblins anyway that like you get them in a point and then you can just fire shots, fire into combats if you want to. I don't think it's a terrible choice.
A lot of the time it knocks off your combats and things, which can get you a lot of value, even if you're not actually using it to win a shooting war as such.
Yeah.
The second Hun fighting the Balrog against him, Turret channeled, and he was stuck because he was just worried that the Balrog was about to die via Legolas. So he was like, do I channel Transfixia on Aragon, who's got 3 will, magic resistance, and the ring? Or do I just go Fury? Which he played it safe and just cast Fury. And I was like, okay.
I think that's probably right.
But I mean, once that Balrog dies, he's lost that fight buff. And then all my Rohan warriors can stop shielding and actually start killing things.
He obviously lost to Yourself in the first game, and then after that he went undefeated, so he went 4-1 through the rest of the event, which his contest game wasn't as clear-cut as you'd expect maybe for the Balrog, because he was up against Bjornans, so he did have to go up against Bjorn, who certainly can kill goblins. He can go up against the Balrog, as it was like Chris got the win in that one, but me and Chris played in the last game, which was Divide and Conquer, and at that point it was a case of, I think the winner of our game, unless there was that weird situation where they ended up 4 people 4-1, the winner of our game was definitely going to podium. I think I probably wouldn't have came second, but Chris would have obviously already did come second by beating me, and that one was Divide and Conquer. And I just the goblins, man, like, see when you're using a slightly lower defense model, those 1-on-1 fights, because they get that army-wide banner, you're not, far less the Balrog, you don't even outkill the goblins, because with their army-wide banner, they win more of the fights. They're wounding you on 5s. I'm wounding some of them on 4s, but yeah, it was rough. The only thing in that game, and it was like, it's a proper heartbreaking moment for me in a game. Like, I don't think, in majority of the games when I've played against the Balrog, usually I just go, well, what points can I get? I'll get a wound on it, and I'll try, like, I'm not going to break this army, so what other points are available? And you go through that, because I generally don't take armies that can kill a Balrog, but I was in a position where I'm like, I'm now losing this game, and my only play is to kill the Balrog. And we spoke a little bit in the run-up, I think I might have mentioned the podcast last time, I can't really remember, but Mohur's ability, Mohur has an ability where he gets -1 to win the fight, but he can then reroll to wound. And I kind of always felt it's a bit of a situational rule. You only really use it if you're in a situation where you've got loads of numbers that are going to guarantee a fight win, and maybe you're up against someone that you need the rerolls to wound against. And I was like, a Balrog's probably a perfect thing for that. And Mohor also has heroic strength, so he goes up to strength 10. So, like, despite it not going great for me, I'd managed to put 3 wounds in the Balrog, so I then trap it with Mohur and 4 Urukai. And it's one of those ones, we're playing Divine Conquer, so the board's kind of a bit split. And I said to Chris, I was like, I've finished my movement here, even though I've got priority just for like keeping the game flowing. Do you want to just move those guys there, and I'll go and move the stuff at the other side of the board? Which we did do, and then we'll come back, and then we go jump straight into combat. He's got priority, so because I'd called a move in that area around the Balrog. And I'm like, I've got my 4 Urukai and the Balrog, so I'm thinking 7 dice. And he's like, we'll just do the Balrog combat first. What I hadn't realised, and again, this is no slight on Chris at all, this is like, it's my bad for no, like, looking down and actually looking at the models. He's tagged one off my Urukai with a goblin, so I actually only should have had 6 dice in the fight, but I was like, I'm going to use Mohur's ability, I'm heroic strength in, throw my dice, I get A6, which is not on Mohur, which is great, he gets a 5, but then it's like, oh, I've rolled an extra dice, I've rolled 7 dice because I never seen that goblin had got tagged. And I'm like, shit. And it's like, we had a chat about like, how do we amicably resolve this? And I think, to be fair, like, the way that we did it is very fair. Like, it's fairer than it needed to be on me because it's my mistake. But like, we just said, what we'll do is you've got 4 dice there that are warrior dice. So just randomise which one of the dice is removed. Obviously, as long as you didn't remove the 6, you're still getting the 6 and winning the combat. We randomised it. Of course, I removed the 6. So I now do not win that fight. We did play it out to see what happened. And with those, like, with the 4 to wound and the reroll, I actually do the 7 wounds on the Balrog, which may be a slight spike, but Mohor himself did 5 with a 4s rerolling. Managed to get a couple through on the troops, but unfortunately, because that 6 had been removed, I actually lose the fight. Mohor just gets killed by the Balrog, and then I kind of get steamrolled. But it's one of those ones, like, as I say, no slight on Chris. If anything, the way we resolved that issue with extra dice being rolled was fair to me, or like fairer than maybe it needed to be to me, having made the mistake, but proper harsh that I've came up with like a last gambit play that I'd thought could work against the Balrog, went to put into action, and then been thwarted by rolling an extra dice and having my 6-10 away from me. So that was a gut-in one for sure, but after that I just get steamrolled, really.
At that point I wouldn't want to know. I just wouldn't roll the win rolls.
No,
I kind of wanted to know.
He's forgetting to tell you that that was the second turn of combat, so he'd already done 3 wounds to the Balrog.
I wanted to know if I would kill it, I think, because I'm like, if I kill it here, obviously that's going to have made it. Like, at that point, he's then now instantly broken, and even though the goblins do get the +1 to courage, there's going to be a lot of them start to run and divide and conquer, and I think
the moment the Balrog goes.
I think I win that game regardless of when it ends, albeit it might just be a minor win. But I do think I win that game if we don't remove that 6. But I mean, it was a long shot play anyway, and I think that like I'd have probably almost been stealing the win because like Chris was in such a good position that if I just kill his Balrog out of nowhere, it's kind of like as I say, you're almost like stealing that win away from him. But it's good to see. It's one I'll keep in mind.
The third place person in second, though.
I'll keep my back. Yes, it would have been. I keep that in my back pocket for if I play the Balrog again, though. It does, especially if you had another hero in there to almost guarantee the 6, like another hero we might. I think that's certainly a use for Mohor's ability.
I'm kind of getting the feeling, though, if you're running your Lussy Scouts, it'll be in a pack that does not have Contest of Champions.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not going to say I will never go to a tournament that's Contest Champions again, but it does always make me sigh, regardless of what army I'm running. Contest just makes me sad historically. But yeah, to go to the person that did come first, so Chris came second after beating me. He got a major win. I think actually tabled me in the end. He got a 21 win because I did obviously win the Balrog. And that was the big major win to pump him into second. But we did have not 4 people on 4-1 because you'd beat Duncan, but 3 people did end up on 4-1, and that was
Alex Bordas.
Mr. Alex Bordas.
Badass Bordas.
Yeah. He's I think
which is why he's got that name now.
Might be certainly his first GBHL podium. I think he might have podiumed a non-GBHL event previously a couple of years ago, but it was interesting to see Alex's reaction actually to getting the podium, even though like he was on 4-1. He just seemed like really surprised when Dylan called him up to get his prize. So like definitely the best he's done for a gaming point of view, because normally he's more focused on the painting side. But he did really well piloting his Riders AMR. He also did only lose to you as well, though. Yeah, that was his only loss.
So it's really nice to see him on the podium. I think I've seen him get 4th before. I think he got that in one of the Comma Crazy events through in Paisley, where he was running beyond him.
It was one of the ones
you denied him his tournament win earlier in the year, Mark. Shame on you.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll take a bit of flack for that one. But it was really, really nice seeing him on the podium after playing for so long and not having done it. Obviously, he focuses primarily on the painting, so I don't think he particularly misses the podiums. But it was really nice to see him do it. And an interesting list, especially 800. I think Riders of AMR has a lot of scope to be really good. But I would have said it probably is at its best when you're looking at AMR Captain or AMR 2 Captain, something like that. I think at the higher points I don't think I'd be considering it at all, but I'd really nice to see it do well.
No, well, it was what Dave mentioned to me is the fact that because there's 3 Balrogs, it's quite tailored to deal with them in a way because of the -1 to win the fight, so it can never get the 6 for that one turn. So, and Éomer can charge in, go to strength 5, heroic strength, he'll go to 10. Like, he's got the might to make sure he gets that 6. He's got the strength to do the damage. Like, so it's the fact that 3 of his games were against the Balrog. I'm not sure if it was 2 Gary Charband or 2 Adam Drew.
He played Gary back to back actually in the same way that you played Duncan back to back because they did have such a tight. I mentioned that game of Retrieval that I think Alex won 17-16, so such a tight game there. They then played again game 5 as well. Sorry, and that one was not tight at all because he killed the Balrog at pretty much the first turn of combat. That combat where he's used the Gandalf's ability. I can't remember the name of it, but the look to the light, what it's called with.
A 14-player event and 3 Balrogs, there was never a Balrog off.
Aye, the Balrogs all managed to avoid each other. To be fair, I think a lot of other people would have been pretty upset about having to play 3 Balrogs, but it worked out brilliantly for Alex. And
I would not be happy.
Like that ability that they have to just go that one turn, your opponents are at -1. So yeah, the Balrog is not rolling a 6 this turn. It gives you a real chance to have a go at him and kill him, especially with the heroes that they've got in there. So aye, it's a cool army, and it's quite. I'd imagine it's the first time we've discussed it. Obviously you got Gandalf in there as well, who's no slouch in combat now either. I mean, Gandalf the White is I think he's up to fight 6, and he's certainly up to 3 attacks.
Yeah, I didn't know he was 3 attacks. I was surprised at that.
Strength 5 as well. The only problem with that is a little bit is once you commit him, you then might not be casting the magic as much because against a Rohan army anyway, your opponent's definitely going to be wanting to call in heroic moves because they don't want the Rohan army charging them, all the cav. So, like, unless you win a move off, you're never really casting again after you've committed them, but he's certainly another capable combat hero.
Yeah, that's the thing that's a little nasty with him. This edition is he's got 2 halves that are kind of at odds with one another, and you're paying Aragorn level points for a hero that's good in combat, but not necessarily the top tier, but still good. And you're getting good casting, but he's also lost Compel this edition, which is a bit of a shame. So whenever I've put him in lists and looked at him, kind of considered if I want to use him, I've always figured he's going to struggle to get his points back. But it's good to see him getting a bit of love in this list because I'd really like him to be usable, and I think he is usable. Yeah, he's got a podium here.
Yeah, I like this. I've played it. I feel like it might have been WTC practice, so that would have been 700 points. And I just didn't rate it at all because you're just stuck with the fight 3 Rohan. Obviously, they got up to fight 4, but that's only on the charge. And they're all defense 5, so everything kills them in 5s. They just buckle. You're relying too much on Éomer and Gandalf doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's very much the way.
There was another.
Sorry, you go, Dave.
I was going to say there was another Gandalf the White at the tournament actually, but it was atop the walls. And I think the difference in that list is at least in this one, like Alex is running, you've got Éomer as well.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily need to commit Gandalf as much, like if depending on what you're up against. Whereas in atop the walls, Gandalf needs to be doing everything. Like he's your big combat hero. You can have Huron in that list, but then Huron doesn't synergize as well with Gandalf because Gandalf doesn't have the Gondor keyword.
Yeah.
So you don't get Huron's ability off, and he's the only other real combat hero that's in that list. So at that one, Gandalf has to be doing bits. Like obviously you get trebuchets and stuff that can do a fair bit of damage, but in this one, there is. If you really needed to use him for your magic, you could kind of hold him back a bit, but as you say, there is that 2 competing halves of he's a nice combat character. He's also a really good spellcaster, and if you have him in combat, half the time you're not spellcasting.
Yeah, the thing that I think would be fantastic, that I was hoping would be a thing this edition, when we were getting all the reveals and all the rest of it, you would have to rebalance the hero heavily for it to work, but to give him the ability to cast in combat. would be.
I mean, it's probably not as oppressive as it was back in the days of the Vanquishers and the old edition, mainly because Sorcerer's Blast has changed.
Yeah.
But still, obviously, would be really strong. I mean, Legolas can shoot in combat, though, and that's
that's
been a massive buff for him. So I don't think it would be game-breaking, particularly, for him. It'd be interesting to see as a change. But I know it's nice to see that army do well. It's nice to see Alex do well as well, because as I say, he's like nice guy, goes to a lot of events and stuff. We know him for his painting and we talk about it a lot, but nice to see him getting a wee podium as well. And he had a very surprised look on his face, but very pleased as well, I think, to get a different kind of prize. I think we've got photos of the prizes actually. Liddell's holding it in that picture with Dylan, but also it's like a light up trophy as well, which is quite cool. They light up and they go different colours, which is pretty nice. So I also think that they got some store credit as well, which is cool. But I guess on other prize winners, we can have a little look at most important actually was Gary Chadband, who was using a Balrog. So
that's impressive.
Fair play there. Like that talks to that is a testament to the sort of quality opponent that Gary is, and like nice guy, because the Balrog it can be sometimes not the most fun thing to play against, depending on the matchups and the scenario and stuff. But to get the most sporting while running depths is a great one for Gary, and a member of the Paints in the 4-Up crew and stuff as well. So nice guy there. And then for best painting, it was not Alex this time. It was actually Ben Jones, and he was using the Bjornings. We have a couple of pictures that we've got like in our sort of like behind the scenes document, I guess, when we're doing the podcast. Ben might have sent us some nicer pictures than the ones that we have. He said he might do, but that if he doesn't, we can still talk about them as well. I played against this army game 1, and he was saying, I've not managed to get everything quite so finished as much as I'd like to, but honestly, like, you couldn't tell. I thought it was like such a nice army. The Beorn models, I think, do lend themselves to winning these sort of things, because they are nice models anyway. But Ben's went out his way to do like conversions, not just the head swaps and stuff, but you see some of them, like there's a guy holding like a bird of some sort, maybe like a falcon. There's a guy with like a flaming brand in his hand, and then, as I say, the different head swaps and stuff. So literally every Bjorn is unique. And then the actual painting work on them, like some of like check shirts and stuff, and the little leaves on the bases. But no, just a really, really nice army. You can see for he's got the little beehives as objective markers as well, and he's gone for like a third party Beorn bear, which I don't think is a bad shout, because the actual like the Grimbeorn is much nicer, the GW1.
The
and
Beorn
this
one looks weirdly anemic. It's kind of lanky and weird looking.
Yeah. And this one that he's gone for kind of fits more, I think, in the sort of almost like the Berserk Fury of Beorn being the one that has to charge. It gives that sort of vibe to it. But really nice army, really nice guy as well. I was glad to get a game in with Ben. Pretty good player as well. He's coming down to Scouring, but no, well deserved. But he told me actually that he was doing a little on the Saturday night. He went back and was like finishing a couple of models that he thought weren't finished up to his standards. So maybe that was what helped tip him over the edge. Because I think Alex got quite a few votes as well. So I think it was quite close between the two of them for best painted. But
Dylan might have said game within one, maybe.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was
Rings a bell.
down to the one. But no, a really nice army, and another well deserved one for Ben.
That's good going. Which I think, I mean, Keith generally looks like the event looked like it was really, really good, and it's nice getting a good number of people from kind of other areas in Scotland up there to go up and compete, because I think sometimes it can be sort of quite a tight community with them being so far away, but it looks like it was well worth the visit. Good prizes, cool looking armies.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't my first trip to an event that Dylan has ran, but it was the first trip to Kelpie Games.
Yeah.
And it was a nice store. Like, again, the stock is always really good. I don't know if that's just because when you are that bit further north, you're serving probably quite a wide, like, there'll be people that are travelling an hour probably to go to his store, because there's not much else going on in that sort of area. But stock was great, like for GW stuff, but for other things as well, paints and stuff, like card gaming as well. Like I spent quite a bit of time looking through the Pokemon card folders, managed to pick up a few things there that I was after. So stock was great. The playing area, there's like, it's just, again, kind of like we said about Air, it's quite a narrow store frontage, but it goes deep, and he's got an upstairs bit as well, so they could have definitely fit more players in than what they had, for sure.
I think he's saying it's 34 players.
Aye, he did. I don't know exactly how the table. Maybe there would be a bit less space around the tables and stuff if he was doing to sell as many tickets as that. But I think you could comfortably get,
and there was
24 to 28, like, which is a sort of an average size Scottish 90, I would say.
four
you
more
comfortably
tables
do that,
upstairs.
yeah.
So that takes you to 22.
Aye,
and then
there was, I think there was one of the downstairs tables was not being used at least, so that's 24.
There was like space for 2 tables, but underneath the stairs.
Yeah.
So that's 26. So
Aye, nice terrain as well. Quite thematic boards, I'd say, and a lot of them. Some of them that were like, because it's a more like thematic board, it's not always necessarily the easiest to play on. But I mean, that's just something that you try and deal with when you're on it. The actual quality of the terrain looked really nice.
I've never been a fan of his Warrior board, the one you had to play at Conquest.
Yeah,
just with the square in the middle of the board.
It looks nice, but I guess it's harder to... I mean, there are access points to it, but it's certainly very easy to defend against shooting because there's like 4 big walls that go around the side.
You get a bear in there and it just takes up the entire doorway.
Yes, a bear can do a Balrog, that sort of thing.
Aye.
But no, it's cool. It's good to see them running events up there, and I think that he's planning on doing another at least one, if not 2, I think, again next year.
I think he's got 2
in the probably on the GBHL calendar, which is up. So but certainly if you live within that sort of area, I'd encourage people to go along, and they say they've got a community there of people, some of them like different levels of experience and stuff. Some of the guys like Ben Jones, who I'd played, Ernest Appleby as well, that like me and Chris both played, they're both coming down to Scouring, which is nice to see. And they're like quite into the tournament stuff, but they just don't have a lot of tournaments up there. And then there's a few others up there who are probably more casual players, but it's nice for them to have events in their area without having to travel loads as well. So if you stay up there, get along to Kelpie games, and I'm sure you'll pick up some games in Middle Earth quite easily, because there's like a good scene up there.
It's a good scheme.
I think that's... Do we have any closing thoughts on obviously your big win, Liddell? So it's good for you to get a 91 under your belt this year. Any other closing thoughts for you on the event?
I've been trying to improve on a fairly poor score for the past God knows how many months, so happy to jump that. And surprisingly, it's actually put me in a position for 3rd place in Top Scot as well. Like you, Dave, I'm one point behind Andy Stone, so I'm coming for you.
Well, I guess before we wrap up then, do we want to have a little look at Top Scot, how things are standing, and sort of what people maybe who are aiming to do well on it need to do to get themselves into those positions to be a prize winner at the end of the year?
I've filled in privately Finlay and Ian what's going on. Obviously they're coming down to the wire of 5th, 6th and potentially 7th score, but Ian has to get the 10 from Scouring and then win the finale. Scottish finale, that is, and then he would win as long as Finlay doesn't get both 8s or just the 9 at Scouring. So I mean, he's pretty safe. But I mean, if Ian manages to do that, then fair play, Christ, that's a hell of a end to the season.
Aye,
3rd place.
I think we thought since we started the podcast, we kind of thought that Finlay was a shoo-in, but Ian's come back and like went on such a tear that he's taken it at least the last couple of events, which is really cool. Finlay's obviously still heavy favourite, but
because he has to enter like beast mode now.
Oh, it's a massive ask, especially given how well Scottish players historically do it at Scouring, but the fact that he's taken it to the last couple of events when a lot of people felt that Finlay had wrapped it up in like during the summer is it's like a testament to how well Ian's done since he come back. So
no, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I'd previously put a post up and saying that he was locked into like the top 3 regardless, but that's technically not true. There's like very niche ways of people knocking him out of top 3, but I doubt it.
It is worth,
Finley's obviously guaranteed at least second.
It is worth saying that to get the 10 points at Scouring, you don't actually have to win it. You just have to be the highest ranking Scot and podium.
Yes.
So you could, in theory, come third, and as long as two English folk were ahead of you, you'd still get the 10. Which makes it a little bit more realistic. Still very hard, but makes it a little more realistic to get that and then also go and get a good score at finale. At the GBHL finale. Although, no, sorry, that's not Top Scot. To get one at Fraser's event at the end of the year. The Christmas one.
Fraser's event. Yeah. Which there's still have tickets available if people are looking to go to that. It's the weekend after Scouring, so
he might have 2 tickets remaining. I think he had one or two tickets the last time he was speaking to me.
He might not have tickets available by the time this goes up, but if he does, drop Fraser a message if you're keen to go and play a tournament in Glasgow.
Because I've already dropped Ian a message saying that you need to go to the finale if you're looking to get Top Scot. Andrew third.
And you say third, there's quite the battle for third.
Yeah, Andrew Stone's sitting third at the moment with 32 points. He's got a 5 to improve on, like myself. David, you've got a 6. So you're sitting in 4th, Dave. I'm in 5th. Again, if Andy doesn't improve and we improve by 1, we'll both jump up.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got 2 chances to do it. I've only got the 1.
Yeah.
Stoff
needs to win the Scottish finale to be in for a shout. But pretty much from there on, it's pretty much that's the case.
Yeah.
Chris needs to win
again.
Go into
he's only got that. He's only got the finale play because, like me, he's running Scouring. But it's good to still have a chance going into the last event.
Chris, Stuart Collette, yourself, Mark, and J-Mac, all pretty much need to win the 9 points and have no one above them increase in order to take third. So that, I mean, there's plenty of people, but it would be very strange to have that happen. But again, Stuart, Mark, J-Mac have potentially got 2 events.
I think all of them are going to Scouring, so they've certainly got that one an opportunity, and then it's just whether they get a ticket for the finale, the Christmas Mid-Layer, or whether they don't. But no, it's good. It's good to see the competition still fierce coming at the end of the year.
Alex Walker in the top 10 at the moment, so good showing, obviously, from his 3 thirds and 1 fourth.
I mean, great to see a new, again, we spoke about Alex loads on the podcast, but a new person coming in and even just breaching at the top 10 is
that's pretty
good showing. I know he's got his eyes on trying to qualify for WTC, and I think he's certainly in the mix, as are a bunch of people as well. Again, I'll post updates on how the team's looking once the GBHL rankings are up to date, because we've still got Ayr and the Kelpie Conquest that still need to be added into that. But I'll do a wee post, hopefully pre-Scouring, to let people see how their things are going for the Team Scotland.
Yeah, well, I'd expect Alex to be a wild card with those scores.
He should.
Again, he's still got depending on how he does, he's still got a chance. Still got a chance of getting into the actual sort of top 8.
Yeah.
In terms of the painting and sporting and stuff for Top Scot,
changed. Alex Burda still sitting safe in first with 7 wins, and Andrew Kerr, Stuart Callahan and Gordon Forsyth and Daniel Cruikshanks all on 2, but Andrew Kerr's higher in the Top Scot board, so that's him sitting in second. Sporting, it's totally wide open, really. There's so many people on 1 and only 2 people on 2, so Rory Savage is on 2 and Rory Campbell's on 2. Rory's again on the board. Top theme, also totally open. Andrew Kerr's winning it with 2. With Jamie Moore, Sam Robertson, and again Daniel Cruikshanks got all on 2. Top initial, I'm going to have to start telling Alex to write them up, but I'd expect it to be a J, an M, and an S. Again, and probably a C. Your D might improve, making it an A.
I will see how that goes. But no, it's good to see that there's a lot of people still competing for a few things at the end of the year. That's nice, and it'd be good to. I know you were mentioning you've got the trophies ready.
I've got them here, right? I picked them
nice
up
to see them getting
picked them up on Friday.
Dished out at Christmas and Middle-earth. So aye, if people are looking to win one of them, or well, maybe some people have already got their name on one of them, it's hopefully good to get along to Fraser's event and get your trophy and see the other people, see who wins the other ones.
Well, last I checked, there was quite a few names that are likely to win trophies no there, so I'll just have to give them to
Chance for
somebody
folk
else,
to
you know.
Have a wee last minute swipe.
Start Saturdays, we've got Michael Wetton winning with 9, and Andrew Kerr hot on his heels with 8. And then yourself, Dave, on 6. Trevor Tuesdays hasn't technically been updated that I'm looking at here, but Fraser on 7, you're on 6, and then Stoff's on 6.
Still all to play for there as well.
Mark Capewell's technically in 4th place with 3.
Hello? Surprised at that. I don't remember doing it 3 times.
It's because you're the top of the 3s because of Top Scott.
Right, okay.
But aye.
Ultimately, I'd expect one of the 7, 6, or 6 to win.
I'd expect so. I'll keep a wee eye for the questions coming in this Tuesday and see how we get on. I think that's probably good to wrap up on this episode.
Yeah,
obviously
covered everything.
2 events, and we've got a wee update there. We're going to hopefully, like, fingers crossed, we're looking to try and get this one, hopefully publish it, and then get another episode out before Scouring. At the very least, we'll certainly have an episode post Scouring covering the usual event coverage that we've done for these events in terms of who's done well and like all the different award categories. But we are hoping to get a pre-Scouring episode out as well if we can. But like, real life can get in the way in terms of time constraints for recording and editing and all this sort of stuff. So we'll see if we can. I guess you'll find out you'll find out depending on what the next episode is, whether we did manage to do that or not. But any other closing thoughts for the guys?
If not, we'll have to do a quick delete and edit of this.
That's easy enough done.
Before we get away, mention the giveaway for last time.
Oh yes, we did.
Sure.
Yeah, that's we should mention that. Yeah.
It's pretty much just a free ticket for AUE, so another unexpected event at the start of the year, just to kickstart us off. Pretty much make sure you do all that usual stuff, like, comment on the YouTube video, I guess, and just mention, I don't know, what you like about the game, and what you didn't like about the game. That'll do. We'll do a draw during the next episode.
Yeah, so make sure to leave us a wee comment, and then you'll get a draw. You could get yourself a AUE ticket to kick off 2026 with a wee free tournament for you.
There you go. Top Scott 8, you know.
Sounds good.
I think that's us. Cheers, guys. Mostly Casper's. There's a PRT will be back for the next one, hopefully. All going well. He'll be back for the next one as well. We're just gonna
keep it tournament winners.
Well, you never know. He could win Scouring, and then we need to have him back for the next one. But we've left them with a bit of editing to do, and
I'm sure
we'll see you guys next time. So.